welcome back to the Overwatch Pacific Championship English broadcast. I am Dallas Easy Fight. Today joining me here, Kevin Abril-Walker and Matt Smite Ross. We've just seen Flash Wolves play back-to-back, picking up 2 3-0s. Firstly, up against Detonator Gold, and then up against Blank Esports. It was a very convincing win as well, starting to topple Blank that were at the top of the table. Now it's Blank's chance to get themselves a solid spot now, get themselves double-digit wins, and they're going to be taking on Machi Esports, who have had a big improvement over the last couple of weeks, so it's all up in the air coming into this one.
Yep, and Blank got a back-to-back as well. It is the night of back-to-backs. You said it earlier on, 3 back-to-backs in a row. Blank just came off of a loss of Flash Wolves. I got to say, a pretty hard loss, 3-0 in the favor of Flash Wolves. Gone up against Machi now. If they didn't come back with a vengeance before, this has to be happening right now. There's no way that Machi should be able to take down both Flash Wolves and then Blank back-to-back weekly.
But here's my expert analysis right. Machi beat Flash Wolves, and Flash Wolves beat Blank. So Machi will beat Blank. It's as easy as that, fellas.
Well, I mean,
start the game now.
There was something else we were talking about as well.
Let's all go home then.
It's all about the attire, you know, and Machi having a slightly better attire than Blank. I mean, Blank going to have their work cut out for them if we're basing this purely off attire.
So we talk about the team icon game as well, and how Fireball's clearly got the best icon. Machi's one is really underrated though. It's like I think it's one of the coolest ones, probably in the top 3.
Like,
but put it up there.
What is it though?
It's like just a little dude's face. It's a big
I don't know.
It's like a little marshmallow.
Kind of.
Machi
a
marshmallow?
Machi mellow.
I don't know.
I like it. But in any case, real analysis though. Blank are definitely expected to win.
Well, hopefully,
the 2 coaches here.
Yeah, it's got the 2 coaches coming through here.
Cassis is saying, well, Blank are in a losing streak. Let's see if we can make them lose one more time. Oh wow, I'm loving the Machi band coming out. I was like, oh, let's just see if you can lose again. I don't know. Feeling good, feeling good.
I mean, Machi obviously
feeling good.
Coming, you know, I think this is what I was sort of talking about before. It's like these teams have sort of got together and be like, how do we beat them? How do we beat them? And now they've kind of shared this little secret strategy around, and Machi are like, we've got the secret as well. So,
do they?
I don't know.
There's been the council of 3 Taiwanese teams that they get together and just like, we're taking down Blank. We're taking down Blank.
As long as one of us wins, it's okay. Just not Blank. Anything but Blank. But I mean, I think Machi are definitely going to have their work cut out for them. But if they play anything like they did in the previous weekend, I think that they definitely stack up with Blank.
This is the thing this is the same thing that happened with Hong Kong Attitude and Blank a couple weeks ago, where Hong Kong Attitude looked good, but really because Blank looked a lot worse. Yes, Machi looked good, but Flash Wolves looked a lot worse. We saw it, Flash Wolves trying out triple DPS for the first time. Now Flash Wolves back to the 2-2-2 against Blank, work like a charm. As I said, they should have just done that the entire time. They wouldn't even have lost to Machi. Now Machi coming in against Blank. To say Machi have a chance against Blank, possibly, to say they could beat Blank, I don't know about that yet. I'm not convinced. Flash Wolves and AHQ are definitely still a level far above where Machi's sitting.
We've also got to look at the statistics, right? Yeah, like sure, Machi are on a 3-win streak, but one of those was against Flash Wolves. Yeah, that's fantastic. You know, beating up at the time the 2nd place team. The other 2 wins, Sun Sister and Detonator Gold, both the bottom 2 teams. So those 2 wins, I've got to say, you can't really factor them in to their matchup coming up against Blank. And even against the Japanese teams, it was just kind of the expected result. It wasn't a complete steamroll, not like we'd be expecting from a team that beat the Flash Wolves. So we haven't seen any more proven results yet.
And Raya, of course, is unfortunately still going to be on the sub bench for this evening. One of the big change-ups for Machi has been that they've moved Kant onto Raya's role, and Kant is now the DPS player, one of the DPS players. So I think it's been working pretty well for Machi. It probably was one of the contributing factors for their rise last weekend, and I think going forward, keeping that moving with their team, it's kind of like the XQQ effect for Sun Sister, right? They made one change up in their lineup, and it has been quite effective.
Well, Blank will be the home team here, though, so they do have a little bit to fall back on, but I guess they're sort of like coming up against the team like Machi, they want to kick the dog while it's down, you know what I mean? They really want to sort of stick it to blank while they're not feeling too good. Obviously, coming off that interview there with the coaches as well, they feel like it looks like they've got the confidence.
That's rough.
Isn't that the saying?
Do people kick dogs?
I mean, that's
or
the
just
first
kicking
time.
something while you're down. I shouldn't have said dog. That's shocking. That's shocking. It's so late into the night. I'm absolutely shocked.
Easy bringing out the animal abuse late into the evening.
The saying you're
And
looking
that's
for,
why I don't own a dog. Oh my goodness. I'm never going to be allowed to own one after this.
the saying you're looking for is just kicking them while they're down. Why did you
I don't
add
know
the
why I said dog.
into that?
It's like, I know why I've said it. Don't worry.
Look, Machi.
Oh my god.
Machi, I mean, like, it's great. It's great that they're looking really confident in that pre-match interview. I mean, not really an interview, but just the few words they had before it, saying like, let's just give Blank another loss. I mean, let's keep their losers rolling. Do it for Taiwan. Do it for the rest
It's more
of the
like
teams.
jokingly, like, let's see if we can give Blank another loss.
Yeah.
Like, you're down now, and it's like maybe we're feeling good because the other two Taiwanese team have beaten them. It's like, wait, we're Taiwanese too. Are we part of the club too? Can we be in? Like,
The we can beat blank club, is it? Well, I think the other thing as well, coming into this, we sort of talked about this like off the break here, and I mean, Atar not really, I guess, performing up to his usual standards there. Is that maybe the crux that is, sort of letting blank down?
Against Flash Wolves, it was a factor. I don't think it was the only factor. The other factor was, for me, Kiki on Winston. And obviously Blank noticed that as well. They switched Kiki off Winston, put him back on the Diva. I think he was better on the Diva, but I don't think Trill was any better on Winston than Kiki was. So realistically, Blank, for the entire Flash Wolves matchup, didn't have a successful run of Winston whatsoever. And we said, like, maybe they go back to Reinhardt. That's an option that they can take. But, they were quite prudent to stay on that Winston.
Yeah, and if you're going to look to go back to a shield-based composition, then, I mean, what are your map options, right? You've got first pick on control.
Well, they could have done it on Hanamura.
Exactly, but they didn't. So as much as we want to talk about this, I mean, they could have done it on Kings Row as well, but they didn't. So we can see the pick now, actually, and it's going to be Ilios. And I think out of most of the control maps, this is the one that you can run a shield-based composition on maybe the least. Like maybe Lighthouse?
You're right. The only way you can run it on Well, somewhat, but even then you wouldn't because currently a lot of teams run Farah on Well, so you'll be somewhat behind with the Reinhardt, but usually if you would, it would be Well. So this is probably one of the control maps where you're least likely to see a Reinhardt throughout the entire thing. Ruins has been really good incredibly good for Blank so far. Eat-Up has been the most successful Widow on Ruins so far. And Eat-Up's had some varied success on throughout the entire all the maps, but particularly on Ilios, he's been good.
Definitely. I mean, coming into this one as well, this is where we're going to get to see, I just mentioned Atar before, I think this is now where he gets to sort of step up and say, hey, like, I might have had a little bit of a shaky performance earlier, but now I'm really going to step it up because he's obviously going to be that Farah player. But if he is feeling a little bit shaky, I think we'll obviously see Trill jump back onto that, but then it'll be interesting to see what they do with their tank setup.
So this is the thing is, I'm comparing this to Flash Wolves a bit because Flash Wolves have a problem where you want Zonda to play everything. Now for Blank, that's essentially, you want Eat-Up to be playing the Soldier, except if Eat-Up's playing the Tracer, he can't play the Soldier, but you want him to be on Tracer and Soldier. So what they end up doing is they put Atar on either Tracer or Soldier to balance it out. But so far, Atar has not been performing on those two heroes as nearly as well as Eat-Up has on both Soldier and Tracer. Atar's safest pick has been Genji, and even against Flash Wolves, it was kind of hit or miss.
But I think that's actually okay if you're going especially into Ruins. On that map, if you do throw Eat-Up onto Widowmaker, you leave Atar on Genji, and that's going to contest the chance of there being another Widowmaker that you're against. You can just send Atar into them, and then suddenly Eat-Up has all the free space in the world, especially if you run A222, you've got Kiki sitting on Diva, he can protect Eat-Up as well, give him even more space if he needs to. So
You're more likely to see Eat-Up Widow, Atar, Tracer, and Trill Genji.
Yep, that's another option as well. I mean, it's the space that Blank are going to have to play on Ruins specifically, so I definitely would favor them coming out on that one the most. I think I favor them on all of the maps, to be honest, but on Ruins specifically, I think that's where they definitely have the biggest strengths against Machi.
So yeah, definitely going to be a must-win for both of these teams here. Obviously, Machi going to be working their way up the scoreboard. They do have a game against Hong Kong Attitude, who are the team who are just above them on the standings as well. So I mean, coming off the back of this, momentum is going to be a definite factor for Machi here, and Blank need to solidify their spot, obviously looking so strong since the start of the tournament there, looking to get themselves onto double-digit wins, and obviously if they drop this one down as well, they're going to leave everything open for AHQ to take that top spot away from them.
Well, literally they will, because AHQ, the only reason AHQ are not in number one, the fact they're tied for number one, so you can say both teams are currently in number one, but if Blank actually drop this, they'll go down to number two officially.
Yeah, and then it would be on AHQ to lose another match to go back to being tied at first place, but AHQ have already played Flash Wolves, AHQ have already played Blank, so who are they going to lose against? I think
Machi?
I mean, if Machi do really well against Blank, then maybe, but I mean, that's the scenario.
Machi,
But then,
That's the new powerhouse.
but then you've just met the standard that AHQ already said. It's like, you beat Blank, cool, we did too. Right? So it doesn't even help them beat
I mean,
AHQ.
before today, before this week, we were all considering like, oh, Blank is just in a league of their own. Now we're talking about all these different teams talking to each other like, oh, you beat
They
Blank,
were in
so
a
did
league.
I.
They are in a league of their own, except two other teams have joined that league.
So
They
it's not a
definitely
league
worked
of
them
their
out.
own.
We are moments away from getting into Ilios. Going to be very exciting. Obviously, we don't get to see much of this. Usually, sort of some of the lesser teams sort of picking this one up. So really excited to see how Blank are going to adapt. You know, coming off their loss. We sort of talked about this last night as well about how to Blank deal with coming off a loss, and can they sort of regain that composure that they sort of usually have. So it will be very interesting to see here. Going to be Nonez coming up against ATAR in the skies. Both teams running their pharmacy
Whoa,
combo
okay.
here. Oh my
One down.
goodness, and that's a beautiful start there for Blank.
Yeah, well, 6v5 to get things rolling off the bat is definitely the way you want to go. Machi will smartly back out of this one. Don't want to drop any further members. Don't even try and fight the 5-6. It's not worth it. The cap isn't even open, so realistically right now, you're not losing that much objectively.
No, but ATAR getting obviously a lot of ultimate charge off that early kill there, already over 50%. Now in a great position here as Machi, they're going to be tunneling into the point and now going to be trying to hunt himself down to Mercy if he can get this kill, which
Yes,
indeed
he
he
will.
does. And that's going to be huge now as Nonez is going to have no support up in the air. He needs to just land one of these rockets, finds that first one. Nonez just needs a little love tap and he'll be taken out of this fight as well. He will be forced to retreat. Oh, the no-look swag coming in there.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
What a
Shot right there.
big play there. Look at Blank cleaning up the rest of Machi there, and they do get themselves that first cap very convincingly. Now they will be able to set up for a very aggressive position.
And Machi haven't picked up a single kill on their side whatsoever. I mean, Blanca sitting so comfortable. They've just completely cleaned out two team fights. No losses. Machi haven't shown any ability to come back in so far.
Yeah, you got to watch out now for where Trill's going to be positioning for this next fight here. Obviously, ATAR will be holding that barrage.
There's
There
one.
is a killer piece there. The pulse bomb being committed now from the side of Machi here. So let's see if Can find anything
That's
more
a rocket.
with this Tracer. It's going to be ATAR slowly getting healed up now, getting pushed through. It's sound barrier actually coming through from the side of Blank to push them into this fight here. Lots of the Machi players getting very low. This should be an easy cleanup for the rest of Blank. And indeed, ATAR picks himself up a triple, and the rest of Blank are there to follow up.
Yeah, I think Eat-Up did the majority of the damage from the ground side, and ATAR getting in with the final kills. I'm not really enjoying this aerial duel between the two Pharaohs. What really needs to happen here is one of the teams needs to be able to get additional assistance, and Eat-Up is probably the play for Blank to get the additional damage to actually help ATAR. But essentially, it looks cool when ATAR actually hits those mid-air rockets, but 90% of these shots are just going into thin air.
Yeah, as you can see there as well, he just opts to go for the ground shots there, just put in a little bit of chip damage, just help Eat Up just a tad there. And now Eat Up almost close to that pulse bomb again. If he can open things up, that's going to be huge for the side of Blank. But again, even trades coming off the bat. Now the sky, it's going to be Nonez as the sound barrier coming in from Machi. This is going to be their moment to push into this one. There comes that barrage as well. So does it connect? Not at all, as Eat Up finds that kill there, only getting a mech out of that one. And even trades now across the board. Machi getting themselves a lot of cap time, but Blank should be able to get themselves back into the fight. And indeed, ATAR is here to pick things up.
That's a huge game for Eat-Up as well. I don't think Eat-Up's really been punished throughout the entire game. And I said last game as well from Flash Wolves Blank, if Eat-Up is alive, Blank are always in the game. No matter what the stakes are, if Eat-Up is alive, I think Blank have an out to actually be able to compete. And so far, Eat-Up's still on a roll. This man has not been shut down whatsoever. 99-0. This is going to go.
Looks like he did not have dinner in the break there and is indeed hungry. That's going to be Blank picking up the first
I get
stage
it.
of
It's 'cause
Ilios
his
here.
name.
You get that one? You get that one?
That's a great name for a Diva player, to be honest.
You hear that, Blank? Just switch Eat Up full-time Diva. Bait Kiki DPS.
Yeah, but if they want to keep on winning, they won't do that because Eat-Up's been fantastic on Tracer so far. We just saw that. And again, when you're running two Pharaohs, they're technically both wasting each other's time there. So it's kind of whatever, but on the ground, the 4v4 on the ground, because there are two Mercies and they're both stuck onto their fires, the 4v4 on the ground, Edup's dominating that competition because Tracer's kind of weak in the 6v6 kind of competition because you got more players that contest you. In a 4v4, the less players there actually are, the safer you are as a Tracer. Now we're going to see Edup onto the Widowmaker. Kind of like I said, this is the exact composition I thought they were going to go. Widow, Tracer, Genji.
Well, this is the issue
Blank
here.
special.
Machi obviously playing for a mirror matchup yet again. It's really just down to obviously which team gets the better position. And Blank are so good at securing that right side early, but wow, it's going to be Kiyomi actually picking that kill up onto Edup. So that's going to be a huge start now.
Too.
And now None is going to be following up with that one. Look at Machi go, getting right in the faces of Blank there. Aita going to be that Tracer player doing a little bit of work here, but that's not going to be enough to get them the cap. And Machi pick up the first point here.
I think Edup got a bit confident there. He absolutely knew what Kiyomi was. He saw Kiyomi jump up, didn't respect the enemy Widow, decided to be the second one to peek. I mean, Kiyomi was already in position. Realistically, Edup had he had an opportunity to take the shot. He missed the shot, or he didn't go for it at all.
But Trill starting things off well.
Trill will get the vengeance kill for him, which is nice.
And now Edup, there won't be much pressure put on him as he tries to just lay waste up in the back lines there. The actual grenade taking Trill down there, so a little bit of poison needs an antidote there for that one, Trill.
Edup needs to secure those hook shots as well.
Blank getting themselves back in control of this point. Machi only getting themselves 28% off that one, so not really enough off that first push there, and no ultimates left to work with. Almost have the wall hack up though, so that might be a little bit for them to gain position.
I expected Nones to be a little bit more charged as well after that huge killing spree in the first fight. Still going to be the battle of the Widows. The first infra sight does come down from Kiyomi. It's going to give a lot of advantage over to Machi, and they take advantage of that instantly. And so does Trill. And I don't think it's going to be enough of a kill to get Blank back into the game, not just yet.
The Trill cleanup crew, as it were, manages just to pick up one more. Is going to fall down, give a little bit of ultimate charge away to Kant there. And now Blank going to have to rethink this one, but they do have some ultimates to work with. They've got that infra sight of their own now to help them set up position there. Atar can really open things up with a pulse bomb. And Trill with that blade has done an absolutely great job so far. Now with that ultimate in hand, he can really start to get things popping.
Yep, Edup's turn now. He says, I got the infra sight ready. Let's snipe each other out. Blank didn't take advantage of this so far. Got the initial kill onto DCR1. It's going to be the opener. What is Atar actually going to go for here? What is Edup going to go for as well?
Well, Atar, he's dead, so he's not going to be able to go for much in this one, but Edup does manage to find Orestia over on the side there. Now the Dragon Blade coming in from Trill. What can he find? The sound barrier as well to help him push through this one, but that great Transcendence there
doesn't do anything.
It actually does nothing at all there, and now No Talk has
great
got
waste
no life.
of the Transcendence, I think, would be more accurate.
Yeah, well, you know, it did buy them maybe a split 2 seconds on the point there, and now Blank should be able to recap this one. Big Transcendence, obviously, and now
2
Gumba.
seconds, I'll have my money back. Give me a refund on that. Thank
and now
you.
Gumba
Faulty product.
will have one left in the bank there, so a little bit of counterplay able to be used now from the side of Blank.
Both Widows are very adamant to stick on these rolls as well. Nones drops down really quickly, so Blank still in decent amount of control. Edup is going to be the one keeping control on the side of Blank, and every time these early picks come out, Machi just get reset further and further. It's interesting that Machi actually ahead in terms of progress, so they got a little bit of time to spend here. They got a little bit of time to burn while Blank catch up, but eventually you got to respect
wow, Kiyomi again.
that Blank are going to catch up, and Kiyomi does reset the scoreline for the Widow duel.
And that is great stuff here from Kiyomi with a great showing on the Widow here. Atar finally getting to open this one up. There comes the Dragon Blade from Nones as well. That sound barrier being used. Can he get anything with this though? Gumbo did use that Transcendence, but he eats a Pulse Bomb. Nones not getting too much out of that one, but you got to watch out for Kiyomi still. He's been an absolutely sharp player with this Widowmaker here. The cap getting extremely close back into Machi's favor, but Blank able to contest so far. Edup does have an infra sight to work with as well, and Trill just waiting for these sound cues, looking to see when he should engage.
Wow. No one can hide from his sights, and Kiyomi absolutely couldn't hide from his sights. You'll notice as we head towards the overtime, Widowmakers are going to be far less effective because they're not great at actually contesting the point itself. And for Machi, Kiyomi's kind of stuck. I would have swapped off here. This is not a great place to still be playing Widowmaker. And you got to be on go mode for Machi because time is running out. The ticker is going down, and they're going to lose this one.
And indeed, Blank pick up their second stage there, looking comfortable, I would say, you know, moving into the third stage now.
Atar's looking warm too. He's got the jacket on.
That's what I was about to say.
Is that
before.
part of the branding?
Yes,
Is that...
yes. I'm so happy you noticed that. So I think what the big issue for Blank coming up against Flash Wolves was it's obviously really cold in the Blizzard E Stadium there. You know, Atar goes to break, gets his jumper. Now he's feeling warm. Now he's feeling hot. And I mean, it's showing.
You know what? That doesn't look like an official Blank branded hoodie to me. I think he has to take it off. I think that's not allowed, personally.
I mean, I'd rather have him looking pretty warm rather than being cold and not bragging.
What he needs is he needs multiple layers of the same shirt. So
I mean, that's all they've got, right?
If they chuck on 3 more Blank shirts, take Serenity's one, he doesn't need it. Wear the white one he had on day 1. Just had 3 layers of practically the same shirt, he'll be fine.
Maybe he's just got really cold arms, you know? He needs a long sleeve shirt there. But now it's going to be that pharmacy combo there.
Blank should have thought of that.
Shockers, really. And now Eat Up, though, opening things up here. Got a lot of space up in the back lines here. Can he find himself Restia on that Lucio? Doesn't look like it just yet. Noni is getting a lot of pressure put on him up in the air.
So good.
And now Blank pushing up very aggressively indeed. They're managing to push Machi all the way back up the point. Cap opens up, going to be falling in the way of Blank. Machi should not be able to contest this one since they've pushed so far forward.
You see the big difference between Atar and Eat Up's Tracer as well. The positioning from Eat Up and the amount of control he has on a Tracer, he instills so much fear into the enemy team. They run at the very side of him and they just completely wither away and give away all the positioning. Now Machi want to actually contest a point itself. So far no pick-outs and it is even trades, but if I were Blank, I'd be a little bit happy with the trade that they got.
Well, Eat Up does have that Pulse Bomb now as well. Resurrection coming in very quickly just to keep momentum going. Sound Barrier used as well, so Blank committing a lot to this. Atar going to be using the Dragon Blade here as well. This is surely got to be Blank's fight. It's going to be a Pulse Bomb there as well. Nonez actually commits a barrage, finds absolutely nothing with that, so great shutdown now coming up from the side of Blank, and they are still in control.
Yeah, just a huge difference in output as well. Eat Up on the kill feed, Eat Up's general damage on the Tracer is completely outskilling both his teammate Atar and also Canton, the other teammate for Machi. They're making a couple of switch-ups here as well. Nona's going to pull out the Genji, resetting a few ultimates, and for Machi, who are already behind 55%, Blank easily charging up the ultimates here. Machi don't have a lot of time to make the setups happen.
Well, they're going to hit that sound barrier and fully commit into this fight here. They do have a 5-on-5 in the mix, but it's going to be Gumba just to pick up another kill there as well. No-Talk just pressuring up on the high ground, gets pushed back out of that one. As the rest of these Blank players are just finishing off what's left of the Machi squad there. That sound barrier not being used to much avail, and now Machi definitely on the back foot as they're moving forward into this matchup. And now Eat Up, look at his positioning now, getting up on the left side, getting in such a great spot now to flank as Machi come in for probably what looks to be the final push. And I mean, with not much to work on their side, just 3 ultimates most likely, it's going to be very difficult.
And you see the sound barrier as well. It almost just looked like it didn't even happen. For Blank, they've burned entirely through that, and they're burning through Machi still as we're about to head onto the final 100%. Somebody has to contest this, but even if they do, they got no members, they got no ultimates. You gotta say, they got no chance either.
No, not with, even with that self-destruct coming in on the point. Gumba just for swag points here, throwing that Transcendence out. They should easily be able to clean this Diva up. Overtime ticking down. No one in Machi to be found anywhere near the point, and that's going to be Blank picking up Ilios 3-0. Are they back?
3-0 is the name of the game, and 3-0 is the result line of the tournament today, pretty much so far. And as expected, I eat you up with the beautiful. This should be the Pulse Bomb double kill, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, definitely. I mean, this is obviously,
Boomtown.
you know, the player of the game and obviously the player of the game as well there. Eat Up definitely being, you know, that star player. Still feel Atar, you know, Atar definitely stepped up in the series now.
Look, I think he's a good Tracer, but he's not an Eat Up level of
no,
Tracer.
not at all. I mean, he did some good stuff there. I think when actually they played Flash Wolves on Hanamura, he was quite vital in sort of helping them on that first attack, but it still was Eat Up on the Widow, up on the gate there, opening things up for them.
You gotta think, if Blank wanted to win Ruins even harder than they did, maybe they don't even run the Widow, because Eat Up's Widow is good, but it's not mind-numbingly good. It's not, he can't do on Widow what he routinely does onto Tracer, and that's the big difference here. If he was just playing Tracer throughout the whole thing, now you start to understand why Eat Up just only plays Tracer, except for the rare occasions when he jumps into Soldier. When, you know, Blank are really desperate, they're like, oh, we need a Soldier, Tracer ain't working. If they just run Eat Up on the Tracer instead of the Widow, you almost got to think they'd be even more successful than they were.
How do you feel about that one, Smite?
Honestly, like, just on a pure player versus player basis right there, like, I mean, Machi were just being outskilled every single role, every single hero. It's really hard to come back, like, even on a macro sense. Like, maybe you have the better strategy, you could potentially come back, but it's still such a massively uphill battle. But they still didn't even have that. Like, they just seem to be struggling against Blank in every single fight. I don't think there were any points where Machi were ever feeling ahead. Blank just outskilled them. I mean, it's hard to go deep on something like that.
On Ruins, they were actually ahead on progress by a little bit. There was like 70% to roughly about 50, 40% at one stage.
But some of that does come from the binary nature of Widowmaker.
Yeah,
right?
that was when Nonez had crazy moments on Genji and Kiyomi got the initial pickup on Eat Up. So, which has been another theme of the evening is you beat Blank a lot of times when you kill Eat Up first. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's something we've sort of noticed, I guess, with a lot of these top-tier teams. The only team I think that really doesn't fall into that category is a team like AHQ. You know, you can take out Dizzy, you can take out any of their sort of other players, but they've got so much to sort of fall back on. You know, you can take out a DPS, you can take out a tank, but they still have so much to work with. Whereas the side of Blank, you know, we're so used to seeing them never fall into that trap because the DPS players, usually it's just Eat Up, I would say, probably is so good at sort of keeping himself alive, winning those one-on-one duels. And now that teams have sort of picked up on that, Blank need to come up with something else to fall back on. And obviously with ATA being maybe a little bit cold, especially in their first series.
They fall back on Eat Up though, because he's always the last one alive.
I guess that's true. Obviously ATA does generally steal the show, I suppose.
Eat Up does.
No, I mean,
the two names, it gets confusing, doesn't it?
ATA gets a lot on the kill feed, I should say.
What is ATA? Is it
ATA?
ATA? What was it?
No,
last
it was
night?
ETA.
ETA. Eat Up, the ultimate DPS player.
With, you know, they have a little Overwatch baby. But obviously coming into map number 2 now, it's going to be Machi's pick here, and it's going to be interesting to see what they go for. Obviously Blank been having one of those early days struggles back on King's Row, I feel, you know, coming into this. I felt it was one of their weaker maps. They sort of turned it around and showed me, hey, no, we know what we're doing on King's Row. We're really good at this. And now have been struggling to even cap point number 1. So I feel like Machi might be wanting to take this one to King's Row. Still feel like Blank obviously on a raw player to player level, just far better, far higher skill level on each of these players there. So they shouldn't have much of an issue, but this is where I think Machi will be able to throw the upset.
And but again, for Machi, if they're coming in expecting, hey, the other two Taiwanese teams beat Blank, we got a shot, we should beat them, maybe we have a good chance of beating them. Hey, they lost on King's Row twice, maybe if we pick King's Row, we might be able to win. I don't know if they can go down that line of thought and for that to actually be the case, because after looking at Control, look, Control was pretty close between Flash Rules, Blank, and AHQ Blank. In fact, Flash Rules really did quite well in Control against Blank. Machi didn't even look like they were in the game for the majority of it. So that being the case, at this point in time, I don't think any map realistically is going to help Machi out, but I do have a feeling they're going to go King's Row anyway.
I mean, it's really tempting to pick King's Row after the last few times you've seen Blank on it, right? But you're right, like, you can't go down the line of thought of, well, look, if other teams have done this to Blank on King's Row, surely we can.
Yeah.
Like, you can't think like that. You've got to
You're
think,
not other teams.
Yeah.
You are your team.
You've also got to look at your own performance on King's Row, and Machi, I think, still leave a little bit to be desired, particularly on the defensive part of King's Row. I think a lot of teams leave a lot to be desired on defense, but I think Machi are okay on attack, but every team that they play King's Row against, they usually just attack with less time left at the end. Like, they go into time bank with about a minute most of the time, and then the other team just caps them as fast as possible. Like, they end up with like 4 or 5 minutes left. So Machi are acceptable on attack. Like, that's the best I can really give for them, but defense really lacking.
There it is. Hollywood and Machi, I respect this because it's not the we'll pick King's Row just because other teams have beaten Blank on it. It's the we are more comfortable in Hollywood, therefore we will pick Hollywood. And that's a much more respectable and understandable line of thought and line of direction in terms of what they're actually going to pick strategy-wise. So I can go along with that. I repeat that.
If there's ever a time for Blank to go back to their Reinhardt shield-based composition, I think it would be on defense for Hollywood. Like, you can really hole up in that diner. You stick up, I mean, even if you want to throw Eat Up on the soldier there, if you want to make him your main DPS, you can put him up in the diner. You've got so much protection with all your shields, your Zarya, your Diva. Like it really demands attention there. So I think it's not necessarily what they're going to go with, but it's an option for them. So if there is a time for them to go back to this composition, putting Trill back on the Reinhardt, getting those great Earth Shatters, like this is probably the map to do so on.
Well, Machi, I think they will get a chance, I guess, to really showcase Nunez as Farah again now as well. I think when they attack, this is when they're really going to be able to bust that out and really try to knock on the door of Blank's defense coming into this one. I think, I mean, I'm not too sure. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Have they run a Torbjorn on this before?
Blank? No.
No, Machi.
No, I don't think either team have, and I don't think, if they haven't, I don't think either team should either.
I don't think they should either.
It does feel still quite a bit cheesy. It's so reliant on that initial first defensive win. The first fight win, more accurately speaking, because you need to get one fight win to start the scrap rolling. And really, Torbjorn without the scrap, you're not getting the full potential out of the hero. So that's part of the Torb thing. Is it's super reliant on winning that initial fight, whereas a lot of the other compositions don't necessarily rely on it as much. You can be sort of at a bit of a loss, but you have other options to sort of get you back in there. You're not so reliant on getting the armor and the molten core to save you.
So moments away from Hollywood starting up here. Going to be interesting to see how both of these teams obviously opt to play it. Blank still looking to establish that dominance, I feel, that they desperately need. Need to rebuild some of that confidence coming off, a couple of tough losses now. And Machi looking to get themselves into the series, wanting to pick up, I guess, their first map win here. This is going to be their pick. And indeed, it is going to be Machi actually going to be playing on the defense there.
Going to be playing a triple DPS semi-counter dive. And this is, okay, well, no, they're just going to go straight for the dive. This isn't even just semi-counter dive. This is, I'm going to meet you at your base level kind of dive.
Wow, this is the mean streets of Hollywood right here, right out of the front gates.
Yeah, move out of the way, Gadgets, and here comes Hollywood.
Goodness me, and look at that now. They give up a little bit of ultimate charge early to some of these Blank players, so Blank now looking to move in, finally through that choke point, get themselves a little bit of position. It's going to be Kiki and I believe it's going to be Eat Up around the backside here.
I don't think that should have really worked. I think Blank should have punished that a lot harder, and if Blank did, they could walk into this next fight with a really big advantage, and now Nono's getting the initial pickup as well. Picks up a double, there's a third kill for Machi, and I don't believe it, but Machi are really putting themselves ahead of this defense to start things off.
Yeah, great start there as well. Actually, Atar's going to fall down a little bit late into this fight as well.
6.
So Kiyomi actually finishing off the team wipe there, and now getting themselves a lot of charge off that. Very calculated play now coming up from the side of Machi, all starting from that very early dive here, seeing how they're going to set up for this.
Which again, shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been successful because Blank should have punished it. They should have secured the kills, then pushed on through the initial first cap, which won't be well defended because Machi already dropped members. Now, Machi are ahead. They got ultimates about to come online as well.
Oh, but Eat Up doing what he does best there. Finds a double with the pulse bomb as DCR1 tries to jump in and get things started early, but he drops down now as well to Eat Up. So Eat Up making a lot of these players pay. The rest of Blank just cleaning them up, and now this should surely be a cap for Blank. Surely Machi can't get themselves back onto the point at this point, and we're going to move on to the streets.
Mean streets of Hollywood, the streets phase is about to begin. This is, I think, a token stall. A little bit of a stall from Machi. Ends up just being an alternate feed, I think, so not super successful for Machi, especially now that Blank is going to push on through with a bit of momentum, secure some additional kills. So that one throw by Noni just got converted into 2 additional kills onto Machi, and now Blank aren't even sort of done with this. Eat Up does get a little bit too aggressive there, but what Blank have realistically achieved is they prevented Machi from taking a defensive hold on the roofs. And Atar and the rest of Blank are going to get there first.
They are indeed, and Atar getting very close to that tactical visor. Kiki just stomping around on the high ground as well, just not letting anyone get up here. It's going to be Nunez though. He does get himself some position, and now Kiyomi has that tactical visor of his own. Machi chasing Blank out of the streets here, and look at this, getting so aggressive, pushing them all the way back to the spawn, and Nunez says absolutely no, with the rest of Machi by his side here, and
Machi
I think they need to pull back. Yeah.
This is far too deep, and this is almost like which team can dive the other spawn harder, because it's literally back and forth spawn diving from both teams, and The good news for Machi is taking the fight here kind of denies the card movement. You see the card's complete, it's actually backing up now, which is good because Blank want to take the fight onto the card, but by not taking the fight on the card, Blank are wasting a lot of time.
Well, that counter Dragon Blade coming up from Nonez doesn't find anything. Oh, eat up! He has got the whole world on his shoulders right now. Finds that triple with a pulse bomb there. Rest of Blank just clean up the last couple of DPS there on the side of Machi. Now they're going to get themselves some movement on the cart. Surely Machi can take another fight to them. Do not have so much to work with on their side there. Blank definitely have kept more in the bank.
And I don't know if any Tracer in this tournament, maybe bar Bacon Jack, has consistently gotten multiple 2 or 3 kills on the pulse bomb. That is something else.
Oh, there comes the attack visor from AVRL up on the high ground. Gets forced off and taken down. He only gets 1 kill with that one, but it is an important one. It's straight onto Nonez. Now, Eat Up, though, has all the pressure on him to finish this one up. Trill, though, with that Dragon Blade, easily takes No Talk down. The rest of Machi are just dropping like flies here, and now Blank going to be pushing this one onto point number 2 very easily. Let's see how they do in the final stage of Hollywood.
Blank going full janitor mode, cleaning up Machi as they push on through, and look at the aggression still. If they pick up any additional kills here, they're just going to get freer push. There's definitely one. No Talk stayed a little bit too long. You needed to get back to your friends, buddy.
And now Blank with that ultimate advantage, pushing with haste here, and Trill getting himself in a good position up on the high ground, just checking things out here. Has caught the eye of Kiyomi there, not so lucky this time. Can't find the Helix rocket onto him. A couple of tanks as well from Machi have managed to push themselves up. They want to take the fight straight to Blank's front door.
This is good. Actually, Machi should take the fight here because, again, you stall out the card movement. Initial pickups from Aita and Eat Up, and Trill, in fact, everybody. That's 5 kills and a mech. In fact, make it a full 6 team wipe. And while it was good for Machi to get the initial stall on the cart, they didn't get any killed trades. In fact, they didn't get out with any members alive. So it was a good start, but no results.
Good couple of ultimates coming up for the side of Machi to help stall out this cart push. But look at Blank, a lot of those supportive ultimates up to really push them through this next fight. Eat Up again, opening things up, taking Kent down. Both sound barriers now coming out. This is going to be the deciding fight, obviously, here into this final point. Machi definitely needs to commit into this one after that sound barrier. Look at that, though. It's going to be Machi now dropping their Transcendence to really push them through this one. Blank have obviously used both of theirs now, and Atar does have that tactical visor. Hits it instantly now. Nothing on the side of Machi to keep them alive through this one, other than position. And here comes Atar looking to find as many as he can. It's still Eat Up around the backside. They did use the pulse bomb into that as well. Can't get slapped in the face by Atar's rifle there. And surely Blank can push this one all the way through. Rissia trying to do a little bit of delay here, but surely he should be dropping.
And you just see Kiyomi on the side there as well. This is all of the Machi members now continuing to trickle out of their spawns. Dragon Blade out of Trill as well. Like I said, cleanup mode. The full janitors coming out from Blank. And Machi got nothing they can do to contest this. And like I said, Machi was sitting on 4 ultimates. Where were the ults? Why did they not commit? Kiyomi died with the tactical visor. He respawned. He went onto the high balcony. Used tag visor after Atar. After Atar killed like 2 to 3 members already. He then came out with his tag visor. Didn't get a single kill. He had to hide for the majority of his tag visor as well. I only caught it out the corner of my eye because we weren't looking specifically for Kiyomi, but I knew where he was standing and it was totally ineffective. Where was the comeback from Machi? They had a ton of resources to use, and it was just misappropriated, all of it.
It really just looked like, Machi, they wanted to get aggressive just a little bit too often. So, they take that fight to Blank, and then they try to take that second fight to Blank, and then Blank were really punishing for their, over-aggression in a lot of those fights there. It's going to be now interesting to see if Blank can hold them down on point number 1. That's going to be really good for them. I think that's what they're obviously looking to do to set the precedent for this.
I like to call it calculated aggression. Now, some of it was definitely Machi staying longer than they should, overstaying their welcome. Some of it was well initiated, but then poorly executed in the actual team fight itself. Now, the losing fight for Machi was their initial aggressive play they made on the 3rd phase, the 3rd checkpoint, near the doors around the 2nd bend. That's not a bad place to initiate. In fact, if you're the defender, you want to take a fight there because you ideally just want to fight where the offensive team is making the initial push, because the longer you actually wait, the further that cart push goes. As a defensive team, you have no reason to wait for the cart to push. You want to take the fight on the cart before it gets movement. So even if you do lose, you get to respawn and take another fight anyway. But again, mis-executed, they just got themselves killed.
Well, pretty standard defense now coming up from the side of Blank. It's going to be Atar, though, on that soldier. Going to be having Eat Up on his world-famous Tracer here. So expect big things from him. And big dive now coming out from the side
It's
of...
APAC famer Tracer at least, at a minimum.
Surely world-famous now. Surely world-famous. We'll give him that. We'll give him that.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of highlight clips after this. I mean, take your pick. I mean, they were all over the place.
Take your pick, just like Eat Up gets the picks. And now it's going to be Kant just moving in, getting himself some position on the left side. So watch out for him over there now. It's going to be Machi contesting Blank now off this first high ground position. And Atar, though, getting a lot of damage put onto him, manages to escape narrowly with his life intact. And this is going to be now Atar answering back, managing to catch Kant out. None is going to be forced off this high ground here as well. Not much he can do without the rest of his team. Will have to fall back to the rest of them. Now Blank actually stacking up here, so they need to be careful.
Yeah, it's a dog pile from Blank, and they get a couple of trades, but losing Eat Up is definitely going to hurt them. Thankfully, though, the rest of Machi aren't going to be able to hold on here for long. There should be a full retreat for Machi, but a really scrappy fight for Blank. You actually notice Blank couldn't maintain control of the high ground. Atar got forced off pretty quickly. Eat Up died fairly early in the fight as well. Now, again, thankfully, Blank actually cleaned up no nares in the middle of that. Does force a retreat, but Blank are going to have to get themselves set up for round number 2, because I don't think Machi are going to waste too much time. They are getting ready for that Nano Blade combo.
Yeah, well, Atar getting very close to his visor, so they can use the Nano Visor combo themselves to counteract that. There is that Primal Rage as well coming up on Kiki, so they do have a lot to stagger if they do end up dropping this fight. Eat Up going to be looking to get an early pulse bomb into this. Atar instantly pressured now, needs to get that Nano Boost. Indeed, it comes through onto him. Should be able to push through this fight here, and there it is. It's going to be Kant dropping down. Nonez, though, hits that Dragon Blade, finds RQT on the Lucio there, but somehow Machi coming out ahead of this fight, and they managed to pick up Atar as well as they catch him up in the back there. So great start now for Machi. There's still that self-destruct to work with for Trill as well, and he's going to probably need to commit this one into the fight. Indeed.
Blank is still just holding on, but I think Machi is somewhat ahead into this fight so far. Trill even get a little bit of a taunt in there midway. You might want to wait till you actually secure the point before you get the taunts in there, because so far DCL1 is able to control the actual cap, and I think Blank are going to have to concede this. I don't think Blank can get back in here, and you've really got to question, why was Atar not on the high ground? You saw he started in the back section behind the garden, and he was on less than 100 HP before he even tagged Visor. He got the Nano Visor out there, immediately plays into a Matrix to tank. He's directly on there with a deflect as well from Nonez. He got 1 kill, but aside from that, he was stuck.
So, I mean,
why was he there? Why did he not start on the high ground to begin with?
Well, I'm surprised actually, because hot air does rise, and you'd expect him to be chilling up there if he is a little bit cold, and he was definitely looking cold after he just dropped in the mileage that they were looking for, and now Atar getting what he needs here. Starting off with a very early kill onto DCR1. It's going to be Kiki there just to finish up that next one onto Nonez, and now you see Blank taking a page out of Machi's strat book here as well, pushing all the way back up into the spawn, taking the fight right to their faces here, getting themselves a good amount of charge off this one as well, but let's see how long they're going to stick around for.
Like I said, really good to take the fight pretty much around the car. It's going to be a really big commit from both teams, and it's good that Blank are not backing out of this. They know they're still in this game, but we'll see if Nonez can get enough done. And so far, even picks up from both sides. All the ultimates going down. Only Primal Rage from DCL1 left to go. He's going to save that. Blank are going to come out on top, and check out where the card is. If you're a defensive team, you take a fight right here. You're going to keep the attacking team spawn camp pretty well, especially in the choke. Is exactly the correct positioning you want to be in.
Well, Machi do have a few ultimates to work with here coming into this next fight. Blank, not so much to work with. There's going to be a lot of pressure put on the pure positioning skill of the team here. Trill does have a self-destruct. Really good to obviously zone and buy them a little bit more time coming into this next fight here. But Machi can't even get themselves past the door just yet. There you see, it's going to be Kant trying to get up in the back lines. Pays with his life for that one. Eat Up all over him there. And now Restia's got to watch out, almost losing his life in this one also.
Machi backing off again. Look, they have no presence on the cart whatsoever. Trill's still sitting up on top of there. We talked about the ultimates that Machi have to use, but realistically, Blank got a lot more. And now it's going to be Blank's turn. They get to start the fight now. Ultimates coming up to play. Got the Nano in there as well. Atar's looking for picks. Well, this could actually just end up being a repeat of the last time we saw a tactical visor out of Atar. Fortunately, not finding too much
Yeah, sound barrier coming in from the side of Machi to help them through that one. Now Nunez going for the Dragon Blade, looking for more than one. Gets himself a mech +1 there. Now Machi coming out on top of this fight. Beautiful counterplay coming in through from the side of Machi as they clean up these Blank members. Now they're getting a lot of movement on the cart, making a little bit slower time, I feel, than Blank here. But again, they will be able to get it around this next corner, and Blank should be able to take a fight to them and eat up, getting close to that pulse bomb, but Kant in a great position here.
You've been cordially invited to Nunez's Nano Boost Dragon Blade party, and please bring a mech +1.
Oh, doesn't find anything there with that pulse bomb, and then Eat Up again catches Kant out. Again, great positioning from Kant. Doesn't waste any time, but throws that pulse bomb onto the tanks. Obviously not going to be able to find that kill there. Now Eat Up going to be forcing Restia to his death surely here, but look at that. Great play from Machi. Going to be DCR1 all over him to force him back to the rest of the Blank squad. And now they're just looking to control this high ground, make Machi come to them, force a fight that they don't want to take just yet.
And Machi have gained a decent amount of ground, but as we head into we're close to the overtime at least, with sub 1 minute, the card is pushed up far enough that Machi with one win will be able to get the cap, and unfortunately if we do get into overtime, the card is so far away, Machi going to have a hard time contesting, and so far Machi are having a hard time even getting close to this card. They're going to have to go for a reset here. No opportunities to keep this one in the game so far. I think this is going to be the last push.
With 30 seconds left on the clock, surely it will be there. Great initiation from Blank coming through. Not really having to commit too much into that fight as well, so still have a lot to work with coming into the next fight here. And again, they've got a lot of control of this high ground now. They've got Atar on the Soldier up on the roofs as well. So this is going to be great here. Kiki and Trill right up in these front lines here as well, just to push back any kind of early aggression Machi can throw at them, forcing them now to commit into this fight. There comes the Nano Blade. Let's see what he can find, but counter boost there. Late as Atar.
Yep.
That's a huge start now for Machi. Disaster for Blank here. Looks like Machi might be able to come out on top of this fight, but they do have that respawner's advantage.
Now the respawn is somewhat close, but I think Machi, if they get a decent amount of momentum, it will just be Blank beating members in whatsoever. And Blank are actually backing out already. Atar has respawned, but I don't know if Atar can get back in there, okay? As long as Eat Up is alive, I have said he keeps the game open for Blank. The hopes for the Australians are not quite out of this just yet, especially if Nunez is going to take that long to take down RQT.
And Eat Up almost coming in with the extreme hero play there, managed to keep this one alive, but look at this, can he do it?
Keep himself
yes,
alive.
he can. He manages to do enough damage there to drop a lot of these Blank players, and it's going to be Machi pushing themselves over to point number 2, now onto the final section of the map, but only a minute 20 left to go.
You can't count out Machi.
You can't count out Machi just yet, very good.
Can't count out Machi, but for Eat Up, like I said, he keeps the game alive for Blank. As soon as he goes down, it's kind of game over, and Blank do have to concede that one back, and now it's going to be Machi pushing on through. Not a lot of time to go with this. They need to be able to build up ultimates throughout this one single push they have. I'm going to say it, they don't have 2 pushes, they have 1 push. And Blank are going to be, they're going to want to commit as soon as they can. It's exactly what they're doing.
Well, finding that early kill onto Eat Up was very important, but Atar now dropping the tactical visor, seeing what he can find with that. The pulse bomb coming through from Kant, picking up 1 there, but now Atar looking to clean up the rest of these players, has great control here of the high ground. Going to force a lot of these Machi players back to the spawn. 44 seconds left now on the clock, so Machi need to regroup now. Everyone's back up. DCR1 needs to get healed up. Very close to that primal rage though, so that's going to work out very well for them as they push in. Nunez as well with the Dragon Blade here, but someone needs to challenge Atar.
This push now will immediately go into overtime. For this card to actually get to the end, there is no way Machi can get this without overtime now. So hopefully Machi can get it without too many ults if they actually want to be able to push on through. Blanco definitely going to commit no matter what. For Machi, it will be a game of attrition. Because don't forget, even if they win this team fight, they're going to have to win a successful team fight straight after this as well to get the full-on push out. 5 seconds left to go now, which means we will be seeing overtime very, very shortly. And with only a self-destruct left to go, like I said, for Machi, they needed to be able to ration this down. I don't think they have.
Yeah, Blank, great retreat there to sort of save the few members they had left after losing that fight. Machi managing to bleed out just a couple of members here. There comes the self-destruct from Blank, throws it right up the back lines, doesn't catch anything, but Atar's tactical visor finding a huge kill there onto Kent. Now he's forced into the front lines here, a lot of pressure, and he's sent back to the spawn room. Restia going to be finishing off that kill there, and now what do Blank have left to work with? No ultimates here, but they do have position and they do have control of the cart, so no movement coming through on this one. There comes the pulse bomb being thrown out, doesn't catch anything with that one, but Eat Up's pulse bomb is enough to do that kill on the mech there, and now that sound barrier for Machi pushing them ahead into this
Nunez
fight.
needs to get a kill. He's wasting so much time. That was really unfortunate by him as well.
Yeah, he had that Anubis there as well and just didn't really manage to find too much with that. And now Blank picking up the last few members of the Machi side here, known as on 17 HP in a Dream. He's gonna be sent back to spawn as well here. And now Blank gonna be stopping this one in its tracks and holding Machi down and picking up map number 2.
Yeah, I think it really spelled it out for Machi, what they needed to be able to do, what they weren't able to achieve. So that initial push on through for the 3rd checkpoint, first of all, for that to be successful, they had to get a snowball push on through without losing a single fight. This is kind of stating the obvious a little bit, but just trying to explain what the phase of the game would have really looked like in their favor. Pushing on through with a minute left to go, it would have taken them the full minute just to get to the end anyway without triggering the overtime. Now they triggered the overtime early because Blank won that initial fight right at the gates of the third phase opening. So if Machi wanted to win after that, they had to be able to take the team fight where they had roughly, 4 or 5 ultimates, maybe use roughly 3 of them, keep another 2, preferably 3 in the bank ready to go. They needed that to clean out the rest for the second follow-up team fight at the actual spawn to actually get the cap on through. Blank kind of let go a little bit because they had attack visor on ATAR that realistically only got 1 kill. Yeah, it was a kill onto Kant, so it kind of made a bit of a difference there. But when you run a nano visor, all you get is 1. It's a heartbreaker every time, and it's not usually that good. So the entire fight just evolved into this massive ultless brawl, which you favor Blank in all of those situations because Blank are just a better team when ults are not concerned, and it showed.
And not even just the better team, just the team closer to the cart as well for their respawn as well. It was at the second corner, which I think is just barely closer for the defenders, and as it moves closer anyway, it's just going to favor the defenders even more. So like in that situation, when ults are just taken out of the equation, every kill Blank gets, and I've got to say, even that the nanovisor kill is still enough to like push them forward. So like even if it's not like economically a great trade, putting 2 ultimates to get 1 kill, it's overtime. It doesn't really matter. So like I think Blank could be pretty happy with that. Now, the cool thing I want to talk about with how Blank pushed through on their attack was Eat Up. Eat Up on checkpoint 1, or the first point, and then through Streets phase on checkpoint 2, almost set Blank up for both of those pretty much entirely by himself. Double kill on point 1, triple kill on point 2. Those are the easiest fights in the world.
I mean, Eat Up sort of set the whole thing up
Pretty
for the entire match. I feel he was definitely really keeping the Blank squad together. I mean, Trill's Genji was doing quite a lot of work, I feel, towards the end of that. But again, I feel ATAR, he started off decently, but I mean, almost he pretty much threw. I'm going to say he threw it in a way when he let them sort of get into point number 1. Hitting the tactical visor all the way up on the back lines there, and not really getting. Yeah, ATAR. Not Eat Up.
Does he?
ATAR.
Yeah. Does ATAR think he's a tourbillon turret? Like, what's he doing down there?
So here's the thing. We really have to consider now, throughout the entire Hollywood match, I don't think there was a single really successful tac visor from ATAR with or without Nano.
Fair.
It's kind of bold,
Fair.
but I think it's also accurate because every time it came out, he was either met with a huge amount of resistance. He never really started out with a great position to start with. Like we said, first checkpoint defense, where was he trying to hide? I don't really understand that. That wasn't a good place because he locked himself out in a place where there was nowhere to run to. He was completely cornered, and rightfully so, he died. He paid for that while using up 2 ults. So for ATAR, everywhere where he tac visored, I don't think he got more than, I would say, 2 kills ever, which, depending on the state of the situation of the fight, may be enough to put your team in the lead, or realistically is the same as what the other team gets, maybe without even using ults whatsoever. So if you spent 2 ults to just even up a fight that the other team doesn't spend anything for, I don't think you're getting enough.
One thing though to sort of note there, Machi very good at sort of trying to counteract Eat Up. He's surely going to find his way. He's surely going to find a kill up in your back line at some point. But I mean, I'll just use the example there where he was really pushing Ristia by himself there, and DCR1 out of nowhere, straight away on top of Eat Up. Eat Up being a smart player, doesn't commit too much of that, falls back out instantly. And I guess that's coming back to the strength of Eat Up. He's forcing, Machi to really commit more than, 1 or 2 players to really either kill him or actually defend one of their players when he is trying to find a kill there. And so when they do that, they are pulling players away from the front line, opening up, I guess, a lot of space for Trill, ATAR, to get some kills up on those front lines there. And I guess without, as you mentioned, Eat Up not being alive, it just really shows, I guess, maybe the weakness that Blanca have at the moment.
It's not even necessarily like how well you deal with Eat Up. As long as you're dealing with him to some extent, it's how consistently you do it. Because look what happens when he occasionally sneaks through. Double kill on pulse bomb, triple kill on pulse bomb, and like, it's hard to say how those specific points, the first point and the second checkpoint, could have gone, because without those pulse bombs, they could have been wildly different team fights. I mean, up until that point on the very first point, Blank were losing every single team fight. They weren't getting great trades ultimate-wise, and Eat Up just completely opened it up with that one pulse bomb. And it's kind of the same story on the second checkpoint as well.
Well, 2-0 to Blank Esports. We are going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, it's going to be map number 3, going to be Blank's pick, seeing if Machi can keep the series alive. Welcome back to the Overwatch Pacific Championship. I am Dallas EasyFighter. Joining me, Kevin Walker and Matt Smite Ross. And if you're just joining us tonight, we've seen Flash Wolves play back-to-back, taking down Detonator Gold 3-0. Then after that, taking down the mighty Blank Esports. Well, not so mighty Blank Esports 3-0 as well there. Now Blank Esports coming up in their best of 5 rather, against Machi Esports. Currently 2-0 up. They are going to be coming into their third map in just a moment. Then after that, it's going to be Hong Kong Attitude taking on Machi Esports. Next map going to be Blank's pick here. Obviously looking pretty strong throughout this one, showing, I guess, a couple of signs of weakness, I feel, that, usually, if they were playing at the top of their game, the Blank that we're used to seeing, I don't think Machi would have been able to push as far as they have in this last series, but Machi definitely looking better, that's for sure.
I agree. Like, if Blank was at the top of their game, then it wouldn't have taken multiple magical pulse bombs from EU Up to push them through to the third checkpoint on Hollywood as well. So, because remember, they were kind of battering up against that first point. Even the second checkpoint took a few fights until that pulse bomb came out, and it could have been completely different. So, I think to some point, I agree. Like, Blank doesn't seem to be at the top of their game. I mean, they've already lost 3-0 to Flash Wolves, which, statistically, really, they should not have had that result. I mean, Flash Wolves, yeah, I'd say they'd stepped up, but at the same time, I think Blank should have been able to fight back a little bit harder. But at the very least, they're still 2-0 up against Machi, so then we're not going to get, it doesn't feel like we're going to get an upset just yet. Machi have to win 3 games in a row to take out the series, but really at this rate, I'd still be shocked to see Machi even take one map.
Yeah, I don't think Machi have the caliber tonight to really take it out to Blank. Even with Blank wounded, even with Blank weakened after losing both to HQ and Flash Wolves, Machi are still a tier below, and it is showing. Like, you probably noticed as well, Blank made a couple mistakes in there. Wasn't a perfect performance from Blank, still a dominant performance from Blank, still a very scary, intimidating performance, but not a super dominating performance. And yet, Machi unable to really capitalize. I mean, stopped kind of both ways. We didn't even make it to Time Bank on Hollywood. We didn't even make it to a 4th or 5th stage of control. It was just over.
Definitely there, and I guess it's going to be interesting to see, when Atar is maybe at the top of his game, or has he already peaked? Is he now on the decline, and now a Blank really going to be struggling coming into the remaining weeks of this tournament if Atar can't get back to, what we're used to seeing from him? Is he just in a bit of a slump there, or is everyone else just getting vastly better extremely quickly? So
it's something that AVRL was talking about earlier, and it's kind of like the Zonda syndrome, right? Where you want Eat Up on a whole lot of different heroes. So Atar is having to fill things like Genji and Soldier as well. And like, it's very hard to master both hit scan and projectile. So you're kind of limiting your skill cap a little bit by just having such a demanding skill to be putting into like both of those types of heroes. So if you were able to be on one of those types of heroes, then maybe we would see him at a much higher potential. But at this point in time, it's so much to ask of him to be at the top of the game in this tournament on both of those roles.
I still think Genji is Atar's main pick.
Yes.
For sure. Not only that, but it's hard for me to say. I was going to say Atar is the best Genji of Blank. At the same time, Troll has had some pretty good performances. I think we've seen more of Atar and Genji though, so I'm more willing to give it to Atar in the sense that, Blank obviously want to run Atar on Genji a lot more than Trill, so yeah, I'll give that to Atar for now, but it is definitely where he's most comfortable, and when Blank want to pull out the stops, you do see it. They will put Atar on the Genji and Eat Up, whether they put him on Tracer or Soldier, doesn't really matter. He performs on both. I think he's performed better on Tracer so far. He's a good soldier, but he doesn't have the crazy moments like he does onto Tracer.
Well, we'll see what Blank can pull out. They've obviously picked Temple of Anubis coming into this next and I guess third map here, looking to close the series out in a quick 3-0. Machi really looking to hold on to this one. I think this is where, you know, in Blank attack, we're going to get to see Eat Up's Widowmaker come out again. Is that something that we sort of talked about this on Ilios there? It kind of maybe doesn't really play to the strengths of Blank at the moment, you know, kind of waiting around for Eat Up to get that pick. They should really probably just keep Eat Up on the Tracer. It's what's working out best for them.
They're not actually really waiting for Eat Up to get the pick. What they're mostly doing, what they should be doing if they're not already, is they're making the engage, therefore opening up Eat Up's line of sight and alleviating pressure off of him, and also flushing out the defender, so flushing out the other team to then give Eat Up better sight lines in general. So that's the way you should actually be playing with it. What if you're waiting with 5 players and your sniper's just there like trying to get picks as well? You're kind of playing the composition wrong. So really what they're doing is a little bit more aggressive than that, and Eat Up's providing sort of support fire from the back, whether he's getting the headshots or not. Even just the full scoped shots, the fully charged body shots are doing a lot of DPS output. So that's kind of fine, but I think the snowball potential out of Widowmaker doesn't really exist, particularly because Infrasight isn't really that useful when you need it to get that full push on through. And for such a momentum-based map as Assault is, I think they do want something a little bit quicker, something that does give you ability to really go crazy, which is for Eat Up is Tracer. They need something like Tracer where he can run in there, you cap the first cap, you get the pulse bomb, run into cap 2, gets a double kill with the pulse bomb, suddenly you're going to get the first tick, maybe the second tick of the cap, and if you're really good, not even out of the question for Blank, they might just get the full cap on second as well.
It is a really tricky situation, right, when you run Widowmaker as well. If it's going really well for you and Widowmaker's getting a ton of headshots, then that's all the ultimate charge on Widowmaker, which, like you said, Infrasight,
dumped into an Infrasight.
Not the most fantastic ultimate in trying to wipe a team on the second point. And even if he's not getting all the kills and it's a little bit spread out, it's still like one of your players is Widowmaker, your ultimate isn't going to be very impactful, and it's still, like, Widowmaker's still going to be doing a lot of the damage anyway. So, again, you don't have any momentum going into the second point. Now, it's fantastic if you get up there and get picks with Widowmaker, but at that point, it's very telegraphed. The enemy team knows what you're doing. They're probably expecting at least a chance that you're staying on that Widowmaker, so you don't even have the surprise factor anymore of it. So, Widowmaker, I think, you know, great on the first pick. Like, you can definitely cap pretty easily, but second point, they either need to change up, pray that he gets headshots, or not run at all on the first one.
That's the other thing, is changing him up at that stage as well completely nullifies any ult charge you built up on the hero, so all the damage that you do on Widow kind of just doesn't translate onto the second cap push whatsoever. There's no real conversion over into something that's tangibly useful for you to actually use on the second cap if you change off that hero, and even if you don't, Infrasight's average anyway. So like we said, great on the first cap. When you move to the second cap, you run into a couple problems.
I must say as well, you know, we sort of talked about this in the Flash Wolf series, Kiki and Trill maybe not having the best day on the tanks as well there. Sort of switching up the roles, you know, who's playing the Diva, who's playing the Winston. I mean, maybe it's just because
they've gone back to what they were now, so I think
I was
that's
going to
better.
say, now that they've gone back to their original sort of roles there, they're looking a little bit more comfortable. They sort of know when to engage. They're sort of, I guess, pacing these fights. You know, they're taking the fights when they want to take them, which is really alleviating a lot of the pressure off ATAR. So I'm really excited to see coming into this, now that they've sort of found a little bit of their footing, you know, map number 3. If this is where we're going to get to finally see ATAR come in, he is going to be on the soldier here. It is going to be Blank on the defense first. It's going to be Machi going in with that full dive.
Blank playing something they're a lot more practiced in. Blank playing something that they're much more comfortable doing, which is keeping your players on the roles that they're designated on to start with, is actually working out very well for Blank now. You can sort of see the comfort coming back to a lot of these players. They know exactly what they need to do. We'll see if Machi know what they need to do to actually break open this first cap. And getting Eat Up to start with, we've said already how important that is. And so far, it's working out so good for Machi.
And Machi just breaking down the wall here, just charging head first into this one. And Blank are just getting torn apart here. It's like they're, oh my goodness, they're huff and puff and they just blow Blank's house down there and get this on the first attack.
You know what Eat Up is? Eat Up is like the keystone in building a bridge. You remove that, the entire bridge crumbles, and that's what Blank is right now. They're crumbling as soon soon as Eat-Up goes down early on in any fight, AVRL follows straight away as well. That's a complete write-off for Blank. You have no ability to actually come back. Gumbo's actually going to pick up the Stormbreaker here. This is very interesting. We've seen a little bit of this in the past, particularly from AHQ and Flash Rules. Can Blank repeat the success?
Well, remember, this is Blank's pick here, and they've just been completely walked over on that first point. Gumbo trying to get around the back lines
Also
here.
known as Dragonblade.
He has caught out the angle and the route which Machi are trying to take here, so Blank need to react accordingly to this one.
Here we go.
Triple headshot there onto AVRL as well, so drops him very low. Watch out for this Dragonblade now. He's probably going to try and leap up straight onto AVRL, but Eat-Up does have a pulse bomb to work with here. Throws it out, doesn't catch anything with it. Now the sound barrier coming through as well. Dragonblade just slicing thin air here. Doesn't find anything on the point, just a mech. Is that enough though? Transcendence being committed as well from the side of Machi, so they have picked themselves up a Diva. Is it going to be enough here?
This is a lot of kills.
This is actually now working out very well for them. They do have that defender's advantage. Blank, what is what is happening?
Down, only Trill. Trill's got to stall this out for a very long time. It's good that the tanks got in there first. I'm not expecting a full camp out, but the tanks have to survive. The sound barrier from what?
Speechlessness right now. Unbelievable stuff there. Machi in record time, sitting there, no sweat even worked up from this squad. 5 minutes 57 left
the
in
way
break.
I feel right now is like the not like this Twitch emote is how I'm feeling currently.
Not like this Twitch emote?
Like, you're a streamer, Easy. How do you?
What do you
not
mean?
know
I
this?
don't even know what Twitch TV is.
Yeah, please don't say that out loud.
Yeah, awkward. Awkward.
Crunch might hear you. And for Machi, what a crazy offense. They blew the gates wide open to start with. Eat-Up went down. We talked about this already. Eat-Up going down early means Blank lose realistically their strongest hope of coming back into a fight. Going to the second cap. Wow, Machi, that was unexpected. Dragonblade from Nonez started out quite poorly. I don't think we can disagree on that.
No.
Gets one slice onto onto actually Trill's Diva. Not super effective. Maybe demix him. Not overall that bad. Everyone dies except for RQT at the end, who had the sound barrier, opts to keep it, which is fine, because you want to re-enter and re-engage with that. That would have kept his entire team alive. Now, Blank were actually set up to keep the defense. They were set up completely. Both Kiki and Trill were there with the tanks. I don't understand. They got pushed off the cap. They must have got pushed off the cap because there is no way two big tanks like that just suddenly disappear and get deleted off the point. It just doesn't happen.
I mean, hats off to Machi for that piece of offense there. I am still trying to work out what just happened there. I mean, you mentioned it just before, you know,
Thinking hats on for Blank, because what was that?
Well, it looks like they are going to go with that Widowmaker coming into this one. It's going to be AVRL on the Tracer. I'm not too sure about this. It's sort of been a little bit of a hit or miss. It really relies, I feel, honestly, on Eat-Up hitting a couple of those shots.
I like playing FPS games. It's pretty hit or miss, quite literally as well.
I think Overwatch isn't a full FPS.
Oh, something for everybody, and that's what I like. Can't go wrong with that, and so far, Eat-Up not finding a lot of success, 24 HP.
Oh my
Has to
goodness.
immediately get out, and well, so far this is a far more successful defense for Machi than it has been for Blank.
Good sleep dart there up in the back lines. Eat-Up does get that pick out onto Nonez though, but Machi stopping this offense before it even gets started there. Very aggressive play coming out from Machi, and now Blank. I mean, was this their pick? It obviously was, but it doesn't look like it right here, as Machi really showing Blank how you play on Anubis.
This is a good start. This is a much better start for Blank now, getting the double to start things off of. Now you get the snowball rolling. Now you can start getting some ults into play. You don't want to commit ults here. If Blank commit ults onto this cap, they're going to be in a tough spot, but they might have to because they're still dropping members.
Oh, there we go though. Trill though, keeping the chill up in the back there, just picking up a last kill. Nonez is going to have to retreat out of this fight, so they don't have to commit too much to this. They should still be able to work forward off the back of this cap.
All right, well, Blank are in a decent position, especially getting the final kill onto Nonez as well. Slightly delayed respawns. You got a couple of ults on Machi, but nothing to write home about. Blank, on the other hand, Genji, Dragonblade are ready to go, Pulse Bomb ready to go, Infrasight, not going to be super useful, but hey, you'll take it because it's there. Now Blank are ready to go. Use what you got while the Infrasight is up.
Well, Pulse Bomb coming out from AVRL finds absolutely nothing. thrown that one into the abyss now, and Trill with the Dragon Blade looking to do a lot of work with this one, but it's going to be Eat Up just finding many kills from the back line there. Takes down the 2 supports on the side of Machi, but still, here comes that self-destruct now, trying to keep things alive. Pulse Bomb from there as well. Nothing really found with that one, but AVRL now getting some work done. Sound barrier for the side of Machi to push them through this next fight.
Flanker out of ults.
They are indeed, but AVRL though in a good position here, manages to take down Kiyomi as he's there near the spawn. But Machi should easily be able to hold on to this one off the back of Blank just pulling everything out of the hat and nothing really working too much avail.
Trill. Wow, Trill, that's a four kills in a row. Will definitely do something for them. But Machi, don't forget respawn advantage. If they can just get back on the point, I do believe they will hold well.
Wow, it's like right there!
A pixel?
What is going on here? And this is surely got to be Machi able to stabilize now. Blank are still coming up with the kills here, but can they push anyone off the point? No talk says no way as he stays on and inside the cap here, and now Nonez being able to put out a lot of damage. Gumba though throwing balls up into his face. Oh my goodness, the players are dropping. Good stuff here from Eat Up to put this damage now on to DCR1. DCR1 jumps off the point actually. Is anyone on here to contest though? There is indeed a couple of Machi players getting their way back onto the point here. Look how close this is. They just need a split second to cap this one over, but they can't find it yet. These Machi players just staggering the point out with ease, it seems here, and now Noni is going to be easily on there as well.
Every kill for Machi is a lot more important than the kills for Blank. One kill for Machi is as good as Blank killing 2 players right now. The respawns are still flooding on through. We've been sitting on the same pixel for so long now, and finally, wow, Blank, that was a long overtime, and I don't know, I feel like everyone's on the edge of the seats for that one, because I definitely was.
I mean, I'm calling it thinking, you know, Machi, they've easily got this there, then Trill coming up big there. Reset, reset, reset city, it seems. Dashing for days, cleaning it up.
Yeah, how do I get to that city? Give me some directions for that. Which train,
move your mouse,
train do I
move
take?
your mouse over to the left side of the offensive heroes. You find the little ninja, you click them, and then hopefully the rest of your team can do some damage.
Which highway exit gets you to that city? Someone let me know. Eat Up's feeling that one. Eat Up's pumped up. He got a decent amount of kills. You know, as far as Widow isn't great for the snowball potential, the fact that he was able to sit himself in a position where realistically Machi just ignored him. And you can't do that. You have to apply some sort of, you have to put someone onto Eat Up just to keep him out of the fight, because you leave Eat Up alone for too long. Those initial first 2 headshots that Eat Up got really set up Blank to get control of the cap itself. Now, yes, Trill got a decent number of kills as well, but everything was compounded off of the initial kills that Eat Up set up to start with. That put Machi on the back foot. Once Machi on the back foot, they never got their footing back again for the entire defense.
Wow, AVRL now, excited to see if he can find some success with this one here. Trill staying on the Genji though. He's got Gumba in his pocket though, so AVRL does have a lot of weight riding on this offense here. And first bit of damage coming out, doesn't really find too much here on the side of Machi. They will be able to retreat themselves back up to the point.
So far, it's just going to be Blank looking for a bit of control, a little bit of sleepy time. This will get woken up fairly quickly though. We'll just have to ignore that for the time being. Where's Gumba? Needs to heal your buddy up.
Oh well, he's back in action now. AVRL keeping things interesting, getting very close, but Kant going to be the one to take Kiki down here. And now Restia skating away back inside. AVRL will not be able to finish him off here. And now he's going to have to deal with Nonez jumping around all up in his face. They are stacking up ever so slightly for AVRL to get a decent amount of splash damage. But now with Gumba gone out of this fight, AVRL should surely have to fall back.
Blank are struggling to get kills. In fact, they're not getting anything out of this. They spent such a long time pushing Machi off the cap itself, or really forcing Machi all the way back into a corner, but where's the damage securing kills? It's just really not happening. Here comes a pulse bomb as well. Kiki once again getting taken down very early. Always the first member of his team dying. It's not as big of a deal as AVRL dying first, but when you lose your main tank and a triple DPS, all your health, all your effective frontline health is gone.
Eat Up actually threw that pulse bomb out in that last fight there as well, tried to find himself that mech of no talk, couldn't even finish that one off, so a little bit of an ultimate wasted as well on the side of Blank. They could go and dry. Oh my goodness, and it's going to be Kant taking out Eat Up very early into this one. AVRL and Trill picking up a couple here. Does have that barrage as well. Does commit it straight onto the point there. Should find himself a mech and Kant as well. And the Dragon Blade from Trill just there to help out also. Nonez though finding Gumba. He did manage to get that resurrection off as well just before he went down. but there should surely be Blank capping this one out. Machi should not be able to cap this one and get back to stop the cap.
No, but Machi got a decent amount of exit frags there. They evened up a few of the trades. Actually killed Gumbo in the middle of that, so they managed to get a few things done. Kept a couple of ultimates. They will be able to set up for a defense as well. For good old Nonez, it will be the somber defense. Blank couldn't really get this going, but maybe Machi, if they hold out for at least half a fight, the EMPs might come out into play, and maybe in a big way as well.
Well, Edup's managed to get himself around the side there. Kiyomi actually running himself into a rocket there. So almost opened up by ATAR, just throwing a couple of little preemptive shots out here. Now ATAR going in right up into the back lines there. The sound barrier coming out from the side of Machi should easily be able to push them through. Riskia getting so low right now. Can they find that kill onto him? He manages to get himself into safety. That's huge now as Riskia can reset his HP and get himself back into this. RQT going to be the support to drop here. So now Blank playing with that player disadvantage, but Kiyomi gets blasted into the face. Gumba surely going to drop there. Nice EMP, but it doesn't matter. Just needs those left clicks right now. And it's just even trades across the board, but Kant with that pulse bomb in hand can really throw that one out there. Doesn't even need it as the rest of Machi just clean up Blank.
And I think eventually, for Machi, they spend not for Machi, or for Blank, they spend so much time trying to take down Restia, putting so many resources into that, a lot of time and a lot of focus to not kill Restia at the end of the day. I think that sound barrier bought Machi so much time. The EMP was kind of just icing on the cake. You're right, the EMP wasn't super effective, but it did force Blank back because Blank had to lose their aggression. Blank had to concede some of the room that they had initially on the cap. They lost positioning, they lost the initiative. Machi took position and they pushed Blank out. Now Blank got to go for the full reset. Only a res to back them up in this next push.
Well, they surely shouldn't waste any time though. There is that Dragon Blade to work with now, and it is going to be Trill. He is not wanting to be chill at all. Gets one, gets two, looking for another here. Can he find it? Comes through with a decent amount of damage. That barrage coming through, a lot of it gets eaten there, and it will be Kant actually picking that kill up. Self-destruct just to buy them a little bit of time. That res has come through, but what has it really done? Is it enough to keep Blank on the point? They haven't really got any cap time yet, and there's that EMP now as well to keep things going for the side of Machi, and they're picking up a lot of kills.
This is already 1 minute left to go, and I don't think Blank are going to take this one anymore. They've already used a res. I think they only got one member out of that, so you're right. Maybe it was a little bit too soon. Maybe there wasn't enough value there, but Trill had such a fantastic start. A Dragon Blade that takes down two, hunts down Nonez and Sombra as well. That's not an easy thing to do. He knew exactly where Nonez was going to appear on the translocator. You can't hide from me, Trill says. Immediately shuts him down. Now ATAR goes onto the Reaper. Dire Straits, this is a final opportunity for Blank to get in there. I kind of like the change up because I'm not enjoying the pharmacy anymore.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the Reaper can come out with here. Obviously high damage if they can get themselves into a good position here. Yomi does have that tag visor. They have another EMP to work with. This is big damage. Boom, DCR1 goes down here. EMP gets thrown out. Does it manage to stop this attack from Blank? No, it doesn't. Now Blank have picked up two, but Nonez will be there to find a nice little trade. Now Blank should be able to get themselves some cap time on this surely. Sound barrier coming through as well. Here we go. They are getting themselves some cap on the point here. Percentage going up extremely quickly. Now the contest comes in from Machi, looking to hold on to this one. Blank at 55.4%. Overtime ticking down. Respawn is now coming back in. Pulse bomb from Edup. Here we go. DCR1 not part of this fight yet again. Now Dragon Blade from True as well. Looking to slice and dice all through these Machi members. Here we go. Is anyone here to cap it? It's 70, 80, 90%. And that is going to be Blank picking up both points in the last seconds here.
Blank just managed to get enough ultimates right at the end of towards the end of the overtime that really pushes them over the line. It did look a little bit dicey towards the end there, but as soon as Trill pulled up the Dragon Blade, I knew it was all over, and we've said this before, but Edup severely sets up the place for his team. And if you're on the opposite team, not shutting this guy down or not playing around this guy, not considering how to best position yourself even against this guy, but Edup has just been a huge force. That initial pulse swarm and then landing a second kill on top of that. Like I said, Trill's the cleanup, but Edup is the one that's allowing his team to even get there in the first place.
So, I mean, going to be interesting to see how, I guess, Blank set up now on the defense. They're going to need to change something up because obviously last time completely walked over. I guess the biggest change they need to make here is not letting Edup get absolutely destroyed as Machi walk their way in through the front gates there, because, I mean, that's what happened on their first defense, and now it is going to be their chance to show us, you know, if they can make the changes that are needed. But we have to remember, Machi have so much time in the bank.
Yeah, they got more time to work with than Blank did, but to fully cap out Blank, I don't want to say it was a fluke. that first time around, but it did look a little bit unlikely. It just looked like Kiki and Trill both stepped off the cap when they shouldn't have. Maybe they got booped off. If that was the case, then well played by Machi, but I don't know if it's a repeatable feat. I don't know if it's something Machi can really consistently rely on to happen, and this has to be a really good point one attack for Machi if they want to be able to set the same standard again.
Well, history will not repeat itself this time. Eat-Up does not get himself caught out in this room up on the high ground here. He does have teammates to back him up as well, but RQT dropping very low here. Will he manage to escape with his life? It looks like it, but Gumba not going to be so lucky here as he does indeed get taken down. And now it's going to be the Genji all over Atar. He's taken out as well. And Machi are doing it again. Absolutely walking over Blank's first defense hold here. Unbelievable stuff now coming out from Machi.
Only 2 members alive, and they're going to have to just wait at the second cap. I got to say, that's a lot faster than what Blank had. Maybe I should reconsider Machi's ability to actually get the second cap, because with the amount of time remaining here, Machi have not only do they have more time to start with in terms of the time bank, but that was such a quick cap on the first cap. Another kill to start things off. I don't think Machi are going to wait at all. They're just going to start things off now.
Where has RQT been hiding there? He just gets taken out almost instantly into this. Hasn't even been alive for too long.
Eat-Up down. Okay, we talked about this.
Oh my goodness, and
we've
there
spoken
it is.
Eat-Up.
The pillar of success for Blank has been taken out, and now Ultimate's now up on the side of Machi. Sound barrier coming through. Nonish should surely use this Dragon Blade soon. Blank are just getting taken out right now. Look at all that time Machi have left to work with as well. The cap moving so quickly. Eat-Up getting slashed right there. And that's going to be it right there.
Is that the victory? I need to brush up on my assault rules, but is there going to be another time bank? I'm really concerned for Blank after that.
I mean, Machi are not celebrating just yet, so...
I think there's another, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because Blank capped as well, Machi also capped, there's got to be another time bank, and this will be not a lot of time for Blank to work with whatsoever. It's just going to be really tough, and I said earlier in the evening as well, Blank looked like they'd sharpen up on Assault, but if they have, I don't think it's sharp enough.
Looking pretty blunt here on Temple of Anubis, you know.
I'll be blunt, it's not sharp enough.
I mean, they went with the same setup, yet that just got walked over in their first defense. They use it again and get walked over again. I don't know what they're actually thinking there, or how they couldn't really make enough, I guess, changes in their positioning there. You know, Atar getting completely no help from the rest of his team. You know, all the tanks putting themselves up on the high ground, contesting that there, and then Atar just getting destroyed as well. So no damage there for the side of Blank. Unbelievable stuff here. Let's see what they can do this time.
Let's pay attention to the actual time remaining. I think it's going to be really important. Machi got so much to work with. It's just ridiculous. 453. Blank is just defending. I think if Machi just get a cap, yeah, look at that. You can actually see the little tick there. If Machi just get 1/3, this is over. And if history has anything to say about this, Machi haven't even struggled to get 1/3. They just get the full cap.
Well, they've changed it up this time. It's going to be Trill here on the Pharah, going to be looking to make those changes there. Already connecting with a fair few rockets.
That's your Mercy body down, so...
That's disastrous though, but they do manage to find a kill on Teresia, but it's going to be Trill getting taken out, so 1 DPS down, 2 players down, make that 3, and that's going to be probably it, exactly that. Eat-Up taken out now as well, Cap moving in the way of Machi, tick, tick, boom, there it goes, and Machi have picked themselves up. Temple of Anubis.
Tick, tick, boom, if you're detonated right now, you just exploded.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, we talked about this before the series started. You know, if Machi managed to pick themselves up a map, that's a victory really in their books, and they've just done so on Blank's pick, no less.
On Blank's pick, no less. This is the second time that... Is this the second Temple of Anubis that, that Blank have dropped? I think it might actually be. Whatever is going wrong for Blank, it's not happening on Hybrid, and now I'm not convinced it's happening on Assault anymore. Whatever Blank had fixed on Assault, it might have just got unfixed. At least that was a sick quad kill from Trill.
Yeah, put that one on Reddit. Put that one on Reddit. That was good. Just don't put the scoreline on Reddit.
Yeah, too late. It's already there. The scoreline appeared before the highlights.
So
they're actually doing it.
Blank, yeah, they kind of got demolished there. I mean, yeah, they managed to cap into time bank, right? Like two extra points, right? But Machi just, I don't think there was anything stopping them on their attacks. They were never contested at all, and a lot of it was just simply off Machi finding kills right at the start of every fight. I mean, Eat Up at the start of the very first point, and then what was it, RQT at the very last fight on the second round of time bank. Oh gosh, there's so many
How
rounds.
many time banks did we go to?
I think that was the third round at the end there.
When
But
you're stuck in the limbo of Assault, you're like, how many years have I been on Temple of Anubis?
Well, if you're
What
Machi,
time
you weren't there.
bank is
You
this
weren't there
now?
for too long. You know, those offenses.
You're
were
right.
reversed.
Those offenses definitely went by fairly quickly. And I said this was like, was it a fluke that Machi got that one roll through on one attack? And I said, look, maybe. I think Blank just made a mistake. I think they'll fix it up. Then Machi do it again. And I'm like, okay, I got no words anymore for this. I just don't even.
And then not only
understand.
that, you know, they were like, "Oh, do you guys? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because we'll do it again if you want us to do it
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Third time's a charm, you know.
Yeah,
It's
show
boom.
me one more time. I didn't quite catch it the first time. It went so quick.
I think Blank are going to have a lot of VODs to review, you know, after tonight. You know, that Temple of Anubis attack that really, I guess, crushed them there. Maybe some of those things on Hanamura as well that Flash Wolves definitely taught them in a very hard way about also.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to say, like, it wasn't even one person getting caught out at the start of every single fight. It was Eat Up once, it was Gumbo another time, it was RQT another time. This is a team thing right now when that's happening every single time.
It's a smorgasbord of who you want to pick out, like Eat Up, RQT this time.
Just blame the Genji. Like that's what you always do in solo queue. You can just say like, oh, Genji, what are you doing? Swap off.
I mean, they didn't have Genji there in that last one. You know, they had.
Then what are they going to do?
Are you kidding me?
Who are they going to
Genji
blame?
was the best. Trill was like, Trill was owning. Trill was
No,
fantastic.
But it doesn't matter how good they're doing. You always have to rage at the Genji.
But even if there's not a Genji, you just say, who plays
Look,
Genji?
I know you haven't played solo queue in so long because people no longer get annoyed at Genjis. The current trend is getting annoyed at Mercy mains, so you definitely haven't played in a while.
Whoa.
Why is it you hate Mercy mains?
I don't hate Mercy mains. Everyone else does.
But why is that?
Because apparently,
not healing
because
me.
because they don't heal you. No, because Mercy mains currently the skills don't translate onto other heroes, so they can't swap off Mercy. They just can only play Mercy. We're not going to go into that though. This is some Reddit stuff happening here, and we're not about that. We're about the OPs. We're about this match where Machi just won Temple of Anubis. We're going to a map 4.
It is Machi's pick as well
And
now.
it is Machi's pick as well. However, I want to say that Blank have been pretty good on escort. I don't think Blank have dropped a single escort yet, so you can say, look, they dropped the control, they've dropped multiple assaults, dropped multiple hybrids. Escort is the last bastion of hope for Blank, and it's going to have to be if they want to stay in this game.
The last
think
Bastion of Hope where they pick Bastion?
Well, it's going to be
Hopefully.
it's going to be if they want to win the game rather, because Blank is still ahead. So now that we're going on to escort where they are more favored. I said that about assault, but it goes wrong because Machi were really good at assault. So Blank are going to be more favored on escort, surely. And if they are,
I
then
like
they're
this
going to win.
feeling of just, we're all
I
just
just
like,
don't know anymore because after control and hybrid, I thought Machi were going to be underperforming on assault as well, and then Blank were going to come through and get a comfortable win. But it's just completely flipped upside down.
I mean, maybe one of the Flash Wolves players or one of the AHQ players, maybe the coach or something just came out and was like, here's the secret, and just turned them around there because, I mean, that looked almost effortless for Machi.
Kill Eat Up first.
You're a genius. You're a genius.
It's like, oh, that's all it takes.
They actually tuned into us between games just to hear Avril say.
Well, no, yeah, no,
"Eat Up."
you said us. I was about to be like, they tuned into the AVRL show.
Yeah, clearly just tuning
I
into
spilled
that.
the beans. I told everyone how to beat Blank.
Do you remember one of the earlier
it's your
broadcasts and
fault.
you went fully into one of those sort of big spiels and I was like, you've just given them the secret. Don't say
Stop
that.
telling people how to beat Blank. Like,
Don't say that. What were you saying?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Escort and Blank. They have actually lost it once, and that was the Hong Kong Attitude. So that was a while ago. It's going to be Gibraltar, and I think this is actually the one that they lost. So Machi picking this one up against Blank. Perhaps they're looking back at the Hong Kong Attitude series and saying, oh, well, if they can do it, surely we
hang
can.
on.
But
Yeah, Hong Kong Attitude won a Gibraltar against Blank. Oh well, that's it. Blank are done. Blank
Yeah.
don't even have escort to rely on anymore. They're done. Oh no. Where have we
Usually
gotten
they're just like,
ourselves into?
well, we always win control, so that's all good. We're pretty good at King's Row now, so we're safe on that. And then without that, they're kind of like, without that King's Row to fall back on, now they're like, oh.
then they're like, can we pick King's Row again for the 5th map?
Or maybe maybe this is why they're so, I guess, underperforming this weekend, is because they've been spending all their time practicing Gibraltar.
I'll tell you what, the one game mode Blank will still be undefeated on is going to be Mystery Hero 6v6, so that's something they can always fall back on.
Or team 1v1s where they they just play Eat Up first and then he just beats everyone else in the 1v1s.
It's true. Eat Up just never loses.
They should use that for the tiebreaker.
Until Bacon Jack shows up and it's actually fairly even. That's a good matchup.
I'd like to see that.
We've seen that multiple times tonight.
Yeah, but there's other other people in the way, which is kind of annoying. I just want to see those two play against each other.
You want it to be a battle where 5 people sit in spawn. It's just like, just pick your champion. We'll meet in mid.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pokemon, you know, they're just like,
Pick a
go
champion,
Tracer,
we meet in
go!
It's more like Fight Club, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
Like, they all stand in a circle while the Tracers are fighting each other. I think that'd be fantastic.
I mean, coming into this though, this is where Eat Up I feel is going to be able to really perform because of, I guess, like all the angles that are on Gibraltar. You know, there's so many different routes that he can take and really sort of sneak his way in, up and behind Machi here. But Machi have sort of showed such cohesion, you know, as a unit now. They sort of know, take down Eat Up, you win the fight there. But not only that, they're just so good at obviously, you know, splitting up and picking targets individually and really just putting the pressure on each of these players there. You know, you see Nonez, I think, on the Genji, always taking on Atar one-on-one, and Atar not really being able to deal with that.
I think on Gibraltar, some teams do like to run Widowmaker as well, and I think Eat Up definitely will probably play that this game. And the difference between this and on Assault is you don't have to worry so much about Snowball, right? You're not so reliant on it to fully cap the second point this time.
Because there's 3 points.
Exactly. You're just continuing on. You're just riding the train all the way to the end. And,
literally.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Or in this case, the shuttle.
Yeah. and so Widowmaker is not such a double-edged sword where, oh, it's great for capping the first point, but then you struggle on the second point, even though they still manage to cap it anyway. But he can just ride this Widowmaker train the whole way through.
You know what? I want to see the sequel to Gibraltar when you find out where that space shuttle actually goes. Does it go to the moon, where we get a moon map?
It's got the data files for the Overwatch recall, and that's why they need to get it there so that you can activate the recall that you actually see in the cinematic that Winston's activated.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense because all the heroes are here, just currently playing the game. So
no, but
something didn't work out. It seems like the recall is pretty successful. Like you got Soldier, you got Tracy, you got Genji there. Winston's hanging out as well.
Well, Machi going to be attacking first here, and I mean, this lineup for them has been working pretty well so far. DCR1 been a very strong Winston. And what is going on here, Kiki? Do not get caught with your pants down. And where's True? He's gone out of this as well.
Yeah, this is a little bit too soon from Blank. Got to be careful of this. I mean, this is what Blank should have done to Machi when Machi did this to them on Hollywood. I mean, not Hollywood.
There goes Ida.
Yeah, it was Hollywood. You want to be able to get those early pickouts. Now, if Machi was smart and they've watched the Hong Kong Attitude game, they would know. Let's get some aggressive positioning. Now, the good news for Blank is they didn't lose too many members, which means they will still be able to keep the majority of their hold, but they will be late to the party just by a bit.
Well, they need to take this fight up here on the corner. They want to get it when obviously Machi are not in the greatest position here. But Machi making great haste on the cart, managing to get it all the way up, almost around that corner now. Kiki finally starting to get things started here. Trill was really in there to open things up. Nice reflect there actually, as Eat Up and Atar, the combo together, really finishing up the last few of those Machi members.
Yeah, it's the Atar combo that I really enjoy from Blank as well. And Blank do manage to stabilize after a slightly bumpy start. Will take Machi a little bit of time to get themselves back into action. Cart movement as well has not been super fantastic. They didn't really get enough distance to really pressure out the other angles. And so for Machi now, even if they want to work the server room, work the other sides, they have to remember the cart. And as the cart moves backwards, they need to be able to translate any team fight in here to an actual cap out. And I don't know if that's going to happen with the cart positioning where it is currently. Look at the rotation. Blank are like, if you want to take that back, Battlements, we're going to rotate all the way back to your spawn. And now it's almost like Blank are attacking Machi.
Yeah, nice little reversey right here. But I must say, reversey boys. Machi getting a good little bit of positioning there. And now Camp's going to open that one up by taking RQT down. And DCR1 contesting up on the high ground here.
This is
Gumba going to get taken down now. The tactical visor coming through. Atar using his own, getting a lot more out of this one. Picks himself up a triple. Has that boost to work with as well. Only 20 HP. Biotic Field coming back up online as well, so should be able to sustain himself through this.
That was a massive pickup and a super late transcendence as well from, I believe it was No Talk. I mean, You needed the Transcendence as soon as Attack Visor came down, not when half your team's already dead. Look at that card, it's not even up over the hill yet, so for all the work that Machi did, for all the positioning that they got, they haven't gotten any more progress.
Pulse Bomb finds nothing into that one. Nonez going to have the Dragon Blade, but look at everything that Blank has on their side. They've already used that Pulse Bomb though, and DCR1 taking down Trill while he had his Dragon Blade ready as well. Going to be a little bit disappointing here. Eat Up gets taken down as well, and that sound barrier, my goodness, that was exactly what the Doctor ordered there, as Machi just destroyed Blank and pushing this one all the way through. There shouldn't be any contest now coming up from the side of Blank.
Oh, they got the key members, they got ATAR, they got Eat Up, and they get Eat Up again, which means, and they got ATAR again. Just like I said, they get everybody that they need to open up a push, and Blank are gonna have to get another reset. Stop feeding, stop sending members out there. You already dropped 2, don't drop a 3rd, and please do not drop a 4th.
Well, the Etar combo looking burnt right there. Look at Trill though, getting in a nice flanking position now. Still has that Dragon Blade, being extremely quiet here. No one's too sure. They haven't really caught him just yet,
Oh,
but
the
Machi...
positioning from Machi is just so good. This is where Blank want to be. Blank want to be sitting up on top of here. Machi's already taking that.
Cant has already started things up, and Machi are so good when they're working off the snowball momentum. Look at them, just cleaning up Blank. Blank can't even stabilize at all. Kiyomi up on the top of the spaceship here, still holding on to that tactical visor. Look at the speed of the cart now as well. Can Blank even get back here and contest this before checkpoint number 2? It looks very unlikely.
Oh, yes, okay.
But of course
right,
it's going to be Eat Up. Just in the nick of time. But look at this, Kiyomi's just going to shoot down on all of them right here.
Tag time, boys.
Oh, that Transcendence though, just in the nick of time there from RQT, helping a lot of these Blank players. Trill coming in to save the day here with the Dragon Blade. Nonez has a sword of his own though, picking up a fair few kills for himself, but Trill standing on the cart strong, not letting any of these players. Nice shot. And takes down No Talk there. Blank stabilizing now.
No talk, no cap, and Machi gonna have to go for a reset. I think Machi got a little bit complacent there, kind of like I did. I said, well, you know, Blank, I'm gonna come back and do this. Blank don't want to give it up, and I think rightly so, because they have the ultimates. I didn't really consider Blank getting back in there. I thought maybe they should just give it up. Maybe they should go for the res. Maybe they should just set up for cap 3. Don't want to feed any more ultimates, but you know, as good, Blank made the right decision at the end of the day.
But look, Machi already getting themselves control of the top of the spaceship yet again. You got to give props to them, knowing how to get their team up onto these high ground positions. Have done a very good job at sort of securing these for the rest of their team here. A little bit of a contest coming out, but while this is happening, Trill and ATAR, the ATAR combo, picking up a couple of players there. That should stop the push in its tracks.
And Machi have to fall back again. This is now looking kind of tough. I thought, and if they were going to cap out, this would have been really good for them, but Kant's already decelerated and slowed down, moved himself back a fair amount of distance. Machi no longer have control over that top. Did they get eaten? I think Nonez ate that one up. Should have bet on Nonez.
Smarty boy.
I don't know if Yoshihara would have done that. But anyway, though, good play by Nonez there.
Well, the hero Trill almost getting his Dragon Blade up as well. DCR1 falling very early into this fight. Kant dropping very low, but does manage to find himself a health pack there. So now Blank looking to set up, looking to bait Machi in. I think they can prepare, they sort of know which route Machi are going to try to take. They are going to try to take this enclosed room up here, but Trill is going to be waiting with open arms here for this one.
Machi have waited so long. They've got enough ults. They have had enough ults for a couple of pushes now. The fact that they've just held on to these without committing is
huge right there. Trill coming in to take out that tactical visor before it gets anything. Both of the support ultimates as well on the side of Machi being used very early into this. Trill saying absolutely no way, Jose, just wiping up Machi here, and this is absolutely huge now for Blank. With 3 seconds left on the clock, Machi, they should not even be able to contest this one, and indeed they can't. Blank, hold it down before checkpoint number 2.
Beautiful 5 kill from Trill over there. You can see him on the right side. RQT's like, did you just do that? And he's saying like, yeah, you know, it happens. It happens sometimes.
He's like, I'm sick of Eat Up carrying. I'm going to do it. Look at this little cutie.
He's like, what I did was I pressed Q and then I rolled my face over my keyboard and people died.
I mean, like, I'm a terrible Genji, like absolutely terrible Genji, but when you see it like that, you're kind of like, how do you do it and make it look so effortless? God damn.
You're like spamming shift and left click at the same time. You're just like smacking it. You're really going for it. Oh, wow. Okay. I think for Machi though, they really let that one go. They had the momentum. They had everything working out for them. They had all the positional advantages. And that's the other thing, they didn't even consider, like I did, so I can't really fault them too much, but I didn't expect Blank to come back, and I think that is a rather safe assumption. But at the same time, to be a really good team, they have to have it in the back of their heads, maybe Blank will come back. And you actually saw all 6 members of Machi left the shuttle high ground, jumped on the cart, and they wanted to ride it to victory. Unfortunately, they just rode it into a full defense hold coming out from Blank instead. Now, had they had kept members on the top of the shuttle, put 1, 2, maybe 3 max members to get the full cart speed on there, leave your soldier on the high ground, and just think maybe, like, what if maybe Blank come in, we can still defend this. That would have been the difference. That would have been a cap. Who knows, Machi might have taken it the full distance.
The other thing, interesting thing to note there, is it EDUP's decision to be like, I can get it, I can get it, I can get it, I can get it, or is someone else on the side of Blank making that call saying, EDUP, you can get it, you can get it, you can get it, you can get it. Because EDUP obviously was just there in the last split second to stop them from pushing it through. So I think
it literally was that close, and I don't know, it even looked like Machi weren't even looking at the doors. They didn't check, they didn't try and pressure the doors, they didn't try and pressure the spawns. So many things they could have done differently there, but it's all hindsight because it's now Blank's turn to attack. Maybe Blank can show Machi what they should have done on that attack.
Well, we'll find out in just a second. Blank going for that full dive there, not the triple DPS, going to be EDUP on his OPC famous Tracer, but Gumba getting taken down very early into this one. They find the kill on him, and Machi taking the fight straight to Blank as they walk out the doors here, and they're coming out on top. Last time we saw this, it was completely reversed. Machi definitely took the fight straight to Blank and came out on top, and now Machi really setting the tone.
Machi 2 out of 2 now, once on Hollywood and now on Gibraltar, have been able to successfully get a couple of opening kills here. Every time Blank have done this, they get nothing. They lose a couple of players, they have to fall out. So whatever Blank's trying to do here hasn't been working for them. Whatever Machi's doing here, which is, you know, I guess Blank quite aggressively start things off with, it has kind of worked out, but I think they've overstayed their welcome.
They jump straight into that, and it's looking even right now. 2 kills apiece, make that 3 kills apiece here. It's going to be Nunez actually killing himself there, so this surely is now Blank going to get a decent amount of push on the cart all the way through that underpass area there. There is just a little bit of stagger now coming out from DCR1. He is going to fall down after this. Can trying to get in there.
Why?
Dies as well.
Why would you do that, Ken? Why would you do that, Ken? This is now totally feeding members. There was no way that aggressive defense was going to hold anymore. You have to be able to back off. Machi have to look at the situation and go, okay, now we have to fall back. Now we got to reset up at the back on the battlements. Stop feeding members. This is not clean playing.
Oh, now Blank actually get themselves past that very hard corner to push past. Atar hitting the blade, gets taken down here, but already player advantage now coming up in the way of Blank. Nunez in a decent position to do a small amount of damage here. Has the Dragon Blade to work with as well, but with the rest of his team falling down here, Nunez needs to fall back very quickly. If Blank can pick him up, that'll be great stuff for them. Nunez 1 HP.
Why?
Well,
like,
EDUP picks him up.
I don't understand. All these Machi players right at the end, Canton now, Nunez just... I'm the only player here, yeah, cool, I'll just suicide my life. It's not even like they had no chance to leave. They absolutely have an exit to get back to their team, but instead they choose to feed ult to Blank, and I don't know, it's not working out for them. There's no real purpose it serves.
Yeah, I mean, Trill was in a similar position there as well on their defense, and he actually crept up behind the entire side of Machi as well. So, I mean, could have obviously opted for a very late flank there, but Blank now coming out on top, picking themselves up a couple here. Kiki hitting the Primal Rage here. Now Nunez, though, in a very good position to initiate here with the Dragon Blade. Pulse Bomb coming up from EDUP. Going to be dropping DCR1 down. They're going to be throwing in that Transcendence as well. But, I mean, without that Dragon Blade there as well, this is surely nothing Machi can do about this offense here. Trill actually picks himself up a kill with the self-destruct, so this is going to be Blank riding the cart all the way up. Can Machi get back?
Well, Machi can, but the difference is Blank are going to check the doors. They're going to make sure they actually hold any attempt to defend this, and this is what Machi should have done on their attack, and Blank might just be successful here. They don't have ults, but they also might not need it either. They can just take down a couple of key members. They get 2.
And it's
they lose 2. They lose 3.
2 in the way, make that 3, 4. Equal across the board here, but EDUP is not having a bar of it at all, and Nunez, oh, is it going to be Nunez? It's Restia actually playing on the soldier here. So
wow, and he's doing something.
He is not resting here. We'll finish this one up and stop that push in its tracks there. Extremely close to Machi.
No Talk just went into Zenyatta, so everyone's just kind of, it's almost like, well, Restia's already on the soldier, so I guess I got to go Zen, but unfortunately they're now going to sit on this for 2 minutes and 43 seconds. It was a good sort of holdout. And Nunez picking up the first kill Sorry, no torque win on the Zenyatta. What am I even talking about? The ultimates do come out of Machi. It does look like they will force Blank for the time being, but Blank are just going to use the time to build up ultimates, and Blank, they just got to get that one push, one key death push with enough ultimates, and they should get it.
Yeah, they're going to be relying a lot on Nonez, can DCR1 in this next fight. They should probably be close to getting a Transcendence as well on the side of Machi to be able to hold off on this, but Blank have obviously built up a lot more of their own. They can't waste any time in getting into this next fight. They really need to try and push Machi off the high ground, and indeed, this is going to be their moment. That sound barrier coming through. Atar finds the first, looking for a second. He gets that one there as well. Kant, though, picking up a trade down onto Gumba. That's going to be Kiyomi dropping there as well. So no damage now left up here for the side of Machi. Only a single Tracer and a Dream, and now Kant being taken down as well. This is surely Blank going to be able to make their moves up on the payload here, but Resia's already back in the fray. Counter Dragon Blade out from Nonez here.
Wow,
Can they?
shutdown.
Wow, great stuff there. Unbelievable, actually, and that's going to be that. Blank cap this one out and take the series 3-1. Whew.
That was tough because for Machi, I don't know why Nonez held Dragon Blade for so long there. Blank went in and I think it was Trill played Genji, didn't he? He Dragon Bladed straight away. Nonez could have responded. In fact, Nonez actually got cut down by Trill to start with. No, it was actually Ato. I'm so wrong. Ato was the one playing Genji for that particular attack, although Trill was on the Genji for the most of the defense. But still, they held ults. I just don't get it. They held ults in situations where I think they were overconfident in thinking they didn't need it, but they absolutely needed it. That was a sick play by Trill, though. Just looking at that play of the game again.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that play from Trill obviously looking really good there. I think Atar got a lot of, I guess, high impact kills on his Genji. I think that's what his Genji is sort of really about there. I think he has a good read at what Machi is sort of getting ready there, or it's just luck. Maybe I'm just sort of reading into it, but I feel like he sort of knows who he should be getting. You know, he can read the ultimates that maybe are getting thrown at him. That might be why he sort of focused out the Nonez on the Dragon Blade, who had the Dragon Blade there.
I don't know. A lot to be said about that, but I think mistakes. Machi definitely had the ability to take it further in Gibraltar, and maybe we look at Control, maybe we look at the hybrid in Hollywood and we say, yeah, Machi got heavily outplayed. Looking at Gibraltar though, I think Machi had the chance. I think Machi had the opportunity presented to them. They let it slip away. That's all on them.
Most definitely. They looked extremely strong, I feel. I mean, as a team as a whole, you know, in this series, you know, Blank obviously were outplaying them there. But I mean, if you'd asked me, you know, even yesterday before the Flash Wolves game, if Machi could do this against Blank, I would have said, no way. No way. But I mean, Machi almost like, you know, lifting their game, being able to take a map off Blank. Who would have thought?
I think Machi can be so happy with this result, right? I mean, they got one map win. That's already huge. Like, that's great to go against Blank. But I want to talk a little bit about hybrid. I mean, like, when they were on Hollywood, I think it wasn't nearly as one-sided as it did kind of appear to be. A lot of the team fights were won simply from just magical plays coming out from EDUP with those huge pulse bombs. And now, yeah, okay, you should probably be recognizing those, but up until those points on those checkpoints, Machi were actually defending pretty well, and it's possible that they could have held out Blank for just as long as they took to get the payload all the way to past the third checkpoint. Now, they still didn't get it all the way to the end, but it was still reasonably close. Like, they were about to get it there. If they had maybe 1 extra minute, they could have got it a little bit closer.
I think you need to be able to look at EDUP in a way where you say magical pulse bombs, really, he's getting them pretty often. Like, it's fairly consistent at this stage. If
Magnificent pulse bombs.
If you're ever treating it like it's some sort of fluke, like what?
No.
EDUP randomly got a pulse bomb.
I know what he's
at
going
this
for.
stage,
Not what I meant
at
by
this stage
magical.
is the expectation. The expectation is that EDUP will just get those pulse bombs, and he does get them. And so for a team like Blank, it's just like, yeah, well, EDUP got the pulse bomb. It's like, well, he was always going to get the pulse bombs because that's what he does.
To some regard, though, at some point, you're kind of being punished for sticking 3 people right together. Like, a triple kill with a pulse bomb is mostly unheard of. So, like, I may be calling them magical, but that's usually just that's just an adjective for good, is what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah, I see what he's going for. I see what he's going for.
I am not calling it a fluke at all. But it is by far the thing that swung those team fights so far into Blank's favor that they really didn't have to do anything else.
Well, Blank Esports first team now to pick themselves up double-digit wins. Looking at the scoreboard there, sitting still in #1 position, going 10-2, and now actually a game ahead of AHQ. So AHQ still looking to be hot on their trails and equalize very soon there. Machi sitting on 5-6, and obviously coming up after this one, we're going to be seeing Machi Esports taking on Hong Kong Attitude. And that one is going to be an extremely tight matchup, I feel, seeing how Machi just played against Blank.
And for Hong Kong Attitude, a win for them would mean putting them up at 7, which puts them just one shy of reaching Flash Wolves. So for Hong Kong Attitude, this would just get them that much closer to then competing with Flash Wolves, which is really important for Hong Kong Attitude to try and break into top 3. You need to make top 3 to make playoffs. That's where the cutoff is. That's where currently Blank, AHQ, and Flash Wolves really have a tight grip on that entire top 3 tier, I'll say. And everything below that is a very big attempt to try and break through. And Hong Kong Attitude, they need a win to even attempt. They're getting close, but they have to continue winning to even get there.
And if you looked at last week's results, the first round's results, Hong Kong Attitude, by all accounts, should be beating Machi. And last time we saw Hong Kong Attitude play against any of the teams below them in the standings after the first round, it was 3-0. Like, there was no real contest, and it's what I felt gave them the title of gatekeeper for the top 4. They were just shutting everyone else out of that club. But now that everything has been turned upside down with these standings, these last 2 weeks have been absolutely ridiculous. It's been such a pleasure to watch as well. But Hong Kong Attitude, if they can beat Machi in this, it's them sitting back and saying, look, at least we're going to be consistent and still continue to beat all the teams below us. And with all the infighting, I'm going to call it infighting with the top 3, where they're all taking games off of each other, evening things out. That's the best opportunity for Hong Kong
Infighting makes it sound like
Attitude.
they're all on the same team, but they shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah,
But that maybe is the secret between the 3 Taiwanese
I think it's
teams.
more like out fighting or just regular fighting right now.
Yeah, well, look, with the Illuminati triangles going on in the top 3, where they're all beating each other, Hong Kong Attitude, it's their best opportunity to actually break into the top 3. Don't shake your head at me, Illuminati.
No, not you. I was just shaking.
Yeah.
I was shaking my head at something else, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
Machi, I think, is actually got the key cut, to the gate there. I think coming into this, I mean, if I was a betting man, Hong Kong Attitude look on paper like they are the better team, but I think Machi have made the steps that they need to really take it to them. I think that one's probably going to go the distance there. Hard to say, but I just for the fun of it, I'd say Machi, coming off a game like that against Blank, I think they're feeling warm, I think they're feeling hot after that.
Because using Blank as the measuring stick of performance, again, Machi have had a much better performance than Hong Kong Attitude did most recently against Blank, which is important as a point of comparison because we haven't seen Machi versus Hong Kong Attitude for some time now. So the point of comparison being they both played Blank kind of recently. Hong Kong Attitude kind of got rolled over 0-3. Machi looked like they could have gone at least 2-2, right? That was a real possibility. So Machi kind of look hotter than Hong Kong Attitude currently, and while I don't want to write Hong Kong Attitude off, I'd like to believe it is going to be a rather tight game.
Yeah, it's way too hard to bet on either of these teams right now. Like, I'm not making any more bets, period at all. But like, I'm not going to start again.
Period at all. Like ever again in your
full,
life.
Full stop ever again, right? Like, against on this one specifically, it's actually very difficult to call. And Hong Kong Attitude, Machi could go either way.
We're going to have the interview from the lads themselves. Get a little bit of a feedback here from the boys from the Blank side.
They finally get to get their interview.
And there's going to be Eat Up just strutting out onto the stage there.
好，我们先跟大家打个招呼吧，say
Hello everyone, I'm You Up from Machi Esports.
好，大家可以就是他们今天其实应该是非常的累，因为是从早上打到现在嘛。那我们现在问一下，其实大家都很想知道的是 BLK 在前几周的战绩都非常好，一直到这一周才尝到了失败的滋味嘛。但其实呢，比赛本来就有胜有败，那输了这2场，不知道对选手们本身来说心态会不会有影响？
So we've been undefeated until now. How does the losses for the past 2 matches affect us?
To be honest, the losses, I don't know about as the whole team, but for myself, it's really disappointing for me because I made a lot of mistakes. As for the team, I guess we were all shook up as well because we haven't lost for such a long time. I think it's 65 win streak, and we just needed time to recuperate, and we should be good now.
他是表示说他对自己很失望，因为大部分的他自己有意识到他做了很多小失误，然后造成那个我们比赛输掉。然后是觉得说，因为我们毕竟是还没有尝过败绩，所以输了的话是有点沮丧。但是他是不确定说是现在问题是出在我们现在就在检讨说问题是出在哪里这样子。
好，其实每一个选手都是这样，像今天反到中打的时候，他也是觉得好像比赛的失败的责任是要担在他自己身上的，每一个选手都会多少有一点自责啊。但是今天其实IU的闪光玩得非常好，他今天有连续2场的炸弹都一次炸了3个人左右，哎。
You tonight on Tracer, you had a few bombs that just like killed 2 or 3 and just 3 people. Yeah. What do you feel about that?
I just felt surprised because it's actually really hard to get sticks, like 3 people, and I think it's just a mistake on their part on positioning, not really like me being good or anything.
他是说，闪光如果要连续炸好几个，其实是很难的。他也很意外，说一炸就炸到好几个。然后那个问题是那个比较是因为对方走位的失误，才会造成那个他一个脉冲炸弹带走这么多个人。
对，没错。今天说到闪光呢，其实也有注意到，我在看比赛的时候发现，最近闪光好像都会成为队伍的一个核心。那尤其在 BLK 这个132体制中，是不是闪光变得更加重要
？In the matches the past couple of days, we've seen almost dive exclusively. And especially in 3 DPS comp, is Tracer the most important hero?
I wouldn't say she's the most important. Like everyone's important, and you need everyone to be coordinated for this comp. And she's really, I guess she's on the top, I guess, because she does the most damage out of everyone if you have proper accuracy. And
他是认为说没有一个在任何阵型里面没有一个单一英雄是最重要的，但是他是觉得说那个闪光在这个阵型是最重要的其中之一，因为他那个如果准度够的话，输出也是队伍最高的。
是的，说到底还是一个团队游戏啦。那再谈谈我们第一场的Ilios好了。我注意到他的夺命女跟 Kiyomi 的夺命女就是有一段非常激烈的互相狙击。那请问他在玩夺命女这角色的时候，他的目标是后排吗？还是他本来就是要锁定狙掉对面的夺命女
？When you play Widowmaker on Ilios, is your goal to kill their Widow or to kill their supports?
In 1v1 Widows, obviously you're always going to be looking out for the Widowmaker, so that's what I do. But if nothing else, I just shoot whatever I see generally, and then I just call for help if I need help. That's it.
通常如果对面也有夺命女的话，他是会特别去针对夺命女，毕竟1对1的夺命女这个比较重要。第二点就是说，如果他觉得说那个他需要帮，如果他就是空闲的时候就是可以看到谁就是打谁，然后如果需要帮忙的话再去如果他这个人需要帮忙的话，他再找队友来帮助他。
是的，所以狙掉对面的夺命女还是首要目标啦，有一种跟我玩同一个角色，我就是要先杀掉的感觉。那再来是你们比较吃力的神庙的部分，因为今天神庙 Machi 其实是非常的顺利的。想问一下，主要在打神庙这张图的时候遇到的困难是什么
？We got rolled on Anubis. What troubles are we facing on Anubis?
The main thing, I guess, is we've been doing the same thing over and over for a long time. So I guess they can just watch our VODs and figure out what we do and come up with strats to counter that. I guess that's it.
就是我们在一些地图就指定地图上就是运用同样的战术。今天就是这几天就是有被特意的针对，所以我们会再改进。
是的 ，Machi 的确是钻了一些吊诡的角度破坏他们的阵型，不过没有关系。最近每一支队伍都在调整自己的状况，想问一下 BLK 最近对自身的状况主要是在调整哪一个点
？Teams have been making adjustments recently. What are we changing?
We've been changing our scrim schedules recently to make sure we stay on top of our game. And generally, we've been scrimming for I think 6 hours a day now. Yeah, around there. And yeah, it helps us to keep in shape and make sure we don't fall behind.
我们最近变更了我们练习的时间。我们现在通常都是每一天练习至少6个小时。
好的，那辛苦你们，你们表现还是非常好，依旧还是一支强大的队伍啊，只是大家都在竞争中。那比赛还很长，希望你们之后有更好的表现。那接下来我们把画面交给我们的沙发区，还有更深入的选手访谈喽。
Well, humble responses there from Edo, I feel.
I think we're actually going to get if I caught the end there right, I think the host has said Blank are going to get a couch interview as well right after this, so I think that'll be really interesting to watch out for. And obviously, I think Serenity will be there to translate for us in English. But a couple of interesting things in there, you know, obviously like how are they feeling after the loss streaks, and you know, Eat Up is personally a little bit disappointed there, bumping up their scrim schedule as well, kind of saying teams have had the chance to kind of figure out their strats, you know. Even you guys got rolled on, I think, now that was Serenity. That wasn't the actual question.
Oh,
that
that's
was
not what you said?
Serenity's like, Serenity just condensed that into, so we got rolled in Anubis, what happened there?
Because I was thinking, wow, Hostess, savage.
Hostess on fire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hostess spitting fire
Savage.
right on that stage.
Actually, it was hot fire there. But I think the only real thing to take away there is, you know, Blank, you know, feeling pretty hard, you know, after those losses there, and they just need a little bit of time to recuperate there. But we do have the couch interview there. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, obviously going to be Machi taking on Hong Kong Attitude. Stay with us.
This is Morrison. London has been attacked. King's Row has fallen. We're on the brink of open war.
Hundreds are dead and thousands injured.
就是你们当初在这个 Australia 的时候，你们是一个业余队伍嘛？那你们刚来到台湾的时候，你觉得就是变成一个职业队伍，对你们来说，你们的心境上面有什么样的转变吗？
We weren't a professional team in Australia, and since coming here, we've changed to being a professional team. Was there any like noticeable change in attitude?
Not really that I could notice, like, other than like scrimming a whole lot more and just like taking our approach to the game a lot more seriously. There hasn't been a whole lot of change. That's really it.
就是我们他没有什么就很明显的心态变化，只是觉得说，只是意识到说，现在我们花在斗争时间比较长，然后也都比较认真了。
都比较认真嘛 ，OK。那其实你们来了台湾也有一段时间了，你们在台湾有发生什么有趣的事情吗？可以跟大家分享的吗？
Since we've been in Taiwan for a while already, is there anything interesting or funny that you want to mention? Any of you?
The fact that we're in the McDonald's like every single day.
他是说就是还是每天天天吃麦当劳啦。
Well, also, you know, like we just eat McDonald's every day.
其实这附近有一个蛮有名的 night market， 你们搞不好可以去试看看，也都蛮不错的。
There's a famous night market just around here. He suggests us that we could go and have a try.
哦，我有一个，这是我 personal 的问题，想要问 Ater 这边哦，就是其实，在第一周比赛的时候，他玩法拉的时候，他的队友有一个 interview， 他说他的法拉很烂。那这边他第一场的时候，他的法拉还蛮帅的，对不对？那就是他有什么东西想要对他的队友说的吗？
In the first week when you played Pharaoh. Chill made fun of you playing Pharaoh.
Yep.
And is there anything that you want to say to him now, since you like
No.
you
Chill's a
owned
great
him on
Pharaoh,
Ilios?
man. He's a really good Pharaoh, but I think my Pharaoh's slowly catching up to his. So eventually, I reckon I'll be better than him soon enough.
他是说他现在法拉的进步的速度很快，所以他那个迟早的话都会赶上 Chill 的法拉。
OK， 马上就会赶上，这心态非常的正面哦。那其实大家都知道，就是昨天是你们的第一败嘛，对不对？那其实你们在输了之后，你们有做什么样的调整吗？或者说你们的心态上有什么不一样的转变吗
？Since yesterday was our first loss in our 65-game win streak, was there any noticeable change in attitude?
Other than just being a little bit sad, you know, because after so many months of, you know, winning, losing's a pretty new feeling. So, yeah, a bit upset for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, like the Flash Wolves game, like we didn't play like we normally would have. Like I reckon if we won the game against AHQ, we would have played a lot better today, and we didn't really do that well today because of the loss yesterday.
毕竟连赢了这么多场，第一次首败也是有点沮丧了。但是他就是觉得说这样子不是什么很大的挫败。然后 A 塔是表示说，我们昨天跟今天打 AHQ 跟闪电狼。不，那个就是我们平常练习的时候发挥的实力都远比这几天表现的还要强，所以只是说比赛上的时候很多失误，我们会检讨。
OK， 那这边有什么你们想要对你们的粉丝跟对你们的朋友大家说的吗
？Is there anything you want to say to our fans or your friends or viewers? Anything like you can do shout outs? Anything you want?
Well, thanks for the support so far, and like we did play pretty bad the past 2 days, but I think we'll be getting better. Like we've been experimenting a lot in scrims, and I think once we get a lot of practice, we'll be back to shape.
多谢大家的支持。我们这2天表现不是很好，但是我们现在就是正在做一些变动。希望大家继续支持我们。
Is there anything you want to say to your fans?
I'd like to thank Godswell for giving me $5 million old school RuneScape. It was a very kind gesture.
他是说有一个游戏叫 RuneScape， 是那个网页面的游戏，然后他有一个朋友给他了一些东西，他想说谢谢他。
That's a very interesting shout out 。好，那我们今天沙发区就差不多告一个段落啊，大家拜拜。